Please take your seats. The meeting is about to begin. Remember to speak into the microphone, as this meeting is being recorded for public record. Please stand by. We are going on air in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our March 17th, 2026 Historic Preservation Board. We've got a couple of housekeeping items to take care of this morning regarding our election of chair and vice chair, and then our approval of minutes, and then we'll move into the items. I know we've got a couple continuances sought, and we'll go from there.
But before we begin, we'll turn it over to the City Attorney's Office to let people know how they may participate in today's proceedings.
Thank you. Good morning. Today's meeting of the Historic Preservation Board is being conducted in a hybrid format, with a quorum of the board physically present in the Commission chambers at Miami Beach City Hall, and applicants, staff, and members of the public appearing either in person or virtually via Zoom. Those wishing to participate in today's meeting via Zoom may dial the toll-free number, which is 888-475-4499, and enter the webinar ID, which is 817-4834-7488#, or log into the Zoom app and enter the webinar ID, which again is 817-4834-7488. Individuals wishing to speak on an item must click the raise hand icon if they are using the Zoom app, or dial *9 if they are participating by phone. Before I swear in those who are testifying, I'm going to read into the record the city's notice regarding lobbyist registration. If you are appearing on behalf of a business, a corporation, or another person, including as an architect, attorney, or representative of an applicant or an objector, you need to register as a lobbyist with the city clerk's office before you speak to the board. If you haven't registered yet, you should register prior to appearing. You do not have to register if you are speaking only on behalf of yourself, you are testifying as an expert witness providing only scientific, technical, or other specialized information, or you are appearing as a representative of a neighborhood association without any compensation for your appearance to express support for or opposition to any item. Expert witnesses and representatives of neighborhood associations shall, prior to appearing, disclose in writing to the city clerk their name, address, and the principal on whose behalf they are communicating. These rules apply whether you are appearing in favor of or against an item, or encouraging or arguing against its passage, defeat, modification, or continuance. I will now swear in everyone who is physically present in the Commission chambers and intends to testify. Virtual speakers will need to be sworn in one by one before addressing the board. So if you will be giving testimony, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Before we begin, we do have to note that we have 5 members present. Every item on today's agenda will require 5 affirmative votes for approval because it includes demolition or variances. Variances require 5 votes affirmative for approval, and any C of A for demolition requires 5 votes. Only applications that do not include a variance, do not include demolition, require 4 votes. We have presently only 6 members of the Historic Preservation Board. Elizabeth Camargo is not present today. The position formerly held by John Stewart is currently vacant. We have somebody who has been nominated for that position. Hopefully they will be appointed and be here for next month. So right now, Lindsay is the current vice chair. So we are going to take nominations for chair. I'll ask for nominations to begin with. We'll take every nomination for the chair, and then we'll vote on each person. Then we'll do the same for the vice chair. So with that, do we have any nominations for chair?
I would like to nominate Leslie Lovell, who is the current vice chair, to be our chair.
Any other nominations? So can I assume that's a vote for approval of acclamation? Oh, actually, we need a second. A second to raise.
I would second Ray's motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Do you accept that, Lindsay? Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Now, Elizabeth Camargo, who's not present today, said she'd like to throw her name into the ring for nomination for a vice chair. So if anybody would like to nominate her or somebody else, please let me know.
This is for vice chair.
Sorry?
Am I allowed to nominate?
Sure, yeah.
I just wasn't sure as chair if I was allowed to nominate. I'd like to nominate Elizabeth Camargo as vice chair.
Any other nominations for vice chair? Can I have a second on that nomination?
I'll nominate Mitch Novick.
Okay, so we have 2 nominations for for vice chair. Any other nominations for vice chair? Do a ballot. We're going to do a ballot, hold on.
So we can either do a written ballot or go down the line and ask each board member. In either event, if it is a written ballot, we would need to read each member's vote, and then we'll take a tally. So is the board okay with doing it verbally, or would you like us to pass out?
Can you repeat the nominations again? It was,
The nominations for vice chair are Elizabeth Camargo and Mitch Novick.
okay.
So
Would you like to do it verbally?
he was asking if we can go verbally or if we do a written ballot, but either way, if they did a written ballot, they would read it in, so.
I think we easier to do a roll call board. So we'll start with Elizabeth and go down the line for roll call. So this would be for, to vote for Elizabeth Camargo as vice chair. If you did not decide, or should we ask them to
do a roll call.
roll call for each person?
And ask each member, yes.
Okay, so I'll start with Randy. This will be for a vote for yes or no for Elizabeth as vice chair.
No, you should say. Sorry, but each board member should indicate who they are voting for vice chair.
And could you repeat the options, I'm sorry?
Sure, Elizabeth Camargo and Mitch Novick.
And who's the chair,
Yes.
And that's automatic now?
Yes.
Okay.
The board just voted to appoint,
Okay, I was trying to follow the names. I have a hard time hearing at this end. So the vice chair positions were,
Randy, your mic is off.
I'm sorry?
Your mic is off.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the names for vice chair again, please?
sure, Elizabeth Camargo and Mitch Novick.
Mitch, please.
Okay.
And Mr. Breslin,
Mitch.
Mr. Meyer,
Mitch Novick. Elizabeth.
and Lindsay.
Elizabeth.
So does that, it's 3-2.
So, in that case, Mitch has been appointed the vice chair by a majority of the board.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Congratulations, Mitch. Thanks. Now we'll move on to the minutes from the February meeting. If I get a motion to approve the minutes,
I'll make such a motion.
I get a second on that?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have some requests for continuances, starting with the W Hotel.
Good morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Freddie Gonzalez for the record on behalf of the property owner. Here we're asking for a 1-month continuance to the April meeting, April 14th meeting. Gives more time to work with the neighbors.
Let's see if we have any public comment on the request for continuance. Does anybody in chambers wish to speak on this request for continuance from the W Hotel to the April 14th meeting? There's nobody online with their hand raised. So would the board like to make a motion to continue this application to the April 14th meeting?
I'll make such a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank
This
you.
application's been continued to the April 14th meeting.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Are there any other requests for continuances on the agenda today? Please. Please state your name and the application which you are representing.
I'm representing Mr. Cohen for 1835 Michigan Avenue. And we need to have a continuance so we can finish fixing the wall,
And you told me verbally you would like this to continue to the July meeting.
please.
Let me just confirm the July date, just a second. And that would be the July 14th meeting. So before we take a vote on that, I'm going to ask for any public comment on this request for continuance. This is again the request for continuance for HPB 25-0670 for 1835 Michigan Avenue. Any public comment from members in chambers present today? We do have some members of the public online who would like to speak in this application. The first is Chris Claude.
Chris, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, yes.
You have 2 minutes.
Hi, this is Chris Glody representing the Palm View Neighborhood Association. We are also concerned about this property and its flooding during king tides of Michigan Avenue and neighboring properties. So we appreciate the applicant's request to continue until at least July. I'll also note, though, that king tides don't hit until September, and the Palm View Neighborhood Association is likely to object to granting any variances until at least the king tides have occurred and the property has proven that it is not flooding the public lands or neighboring properties.
Thank you, Chris. And just for everybody's knowledge, the board can only continue an application for up to 120 days. So I think that it's appropriate to continue this till July, and then the board can continue it again until such time after the king tides occur to verify whether or not this is causing a flooding to the property. Before we vote on this, we have another speaker online, Dan.
Dan, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Hello?
Dan, do you so swear?
Okay, that's all the public comment we have. So can I have a motion to continue this to the July 14th meeting? Mr. Breslin, a second? Second. All in favor to continue this to the July 14th meeting?
Aye.
Any opposed? This is continued to the July 14th meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other requests to continue an item on today's agenda? With no other requests, we'll continue to the regular agenda items. The first action for the board is HPB 25-0680. This is 1509 and 1515 Washington Avenue and 1500 Collins Avenue. Sure.
2201 Collins Avenue was continued to
Right.
what date?
That was continued to the April 14th meeting.
April.
Let me just tee up this item, just a second. So this is an application requesting modifications to a previously issued C of A for the total demolition and partial reconstruction of 2 contributing buildings, including the construction of a new addition, the partial demolition and renovation of 2 contributing buildings, including the construction of a 1-story rooftop addition, the total demolition of a non-contributing building, 1 or more waivers and site improvements as part of a new hotel development. Specifically, this application includes modifications to window and door openings, installation of an operable storefront, and other design modifications associated with adjustments to accessory uses, including the construction of an outdoor bar counter. The applicant is also requesting a waiver to allow the demolition of an existing non-contributing structure prior to the issuance of a building permit for new construction. Now, the board may remember that just last year at the beginning, the planning board approved the CUP for this application, which was for a neighborhood impact structure. That was on January 7th of last year. On February of last year, the Historic Preservation Board approved the project with the description I previously provided. This application includes some minor modifications that we could not approve administratively, but it includes modifications to historic elements, including primarily adjustments to the Hayden Hall, lowering the windows. This is partly due because they're lowering changing the use of elements along Collins Avenue from hotel units to a cafe and lowering the floor. And they want to have that floor now match up with the terrace so they can access it. And that's why we're asking for some modifications to window and door openings along street elevations. We're supportive of that, provided that they're balanced out by the same design changes on the north side. So we have a balanced design. We're supportive of the modifications. As I mentioned previously, it also includes a waiver to allow the demolition of the construction that happened, I think, in 2010, 2011. The code does not allow you to demolish that structure until you have a permit for new construction, but the board can waive that for non-contributing structures. That waiver is part of this request. We're supportive of that as well. I'll turn it over to Mr. Larkin for his presentation.
So good morning and congratulations, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, congratulations to you as well. Michael Larkin, representing the applicant. With me today is Chris Evans from Rotet Studios. He's appearing virtually, so Chris, if you could raise your hand so staff could promote you to a participant. Norberto Rosenstein, a firm of his own name, he's here behind me. Gavin Crovenzo is representing ownership, and Mitchell Tozian is my colleague. So we are requesting certain minor modifications to a COA for design and demolition you all granted a couple of years ago. All of these modifications are minor in nature and go toward making this a better project. Pull up the presentation, please, Mitchell. Next slide. No, next slide. So this is a rather large property for South Beach standards. Haddon Hall originally stretched from Collins Avenue to Washington Avenue. Then our clients entered into a purchase and sale agreement with Jimmy Resnick and purchased the remainder of the property heading northward to sadly be right next to Club Madonna. Nothing we can do about that, but Club Madonna is there on our northern boundary. Next slide. The zoning is also split, CD2 on the west, MXC on the east. The property is bifurcated into two local historic districts, Flamingo Park on the west and Ocean Drive Collins Avenue on the east. Next slide. This is a picture from 1955 of Haddon Hall. Please note the Greek statuette thankfully is not original and won't be a part of our design. Next slide. This is at the beginning of the planning process that we initiated back in 2023. This is how Haddon Hall looked. Next slide. This is a rendering of how it will look in the future. Note the rooftop addition on the northern extension of Haddon Hall. Next slide. This is what Haddon Hall will look like from Washington Avenue. The newer building, of course, is on the left-hand side, and the Compton Apartments are on the right-hand side. Next slide. Since our initial approvals, we have managed to do a partnership with Starwood Hospitality. Their newest hospitality brand is called Treehouse Hotels. It's a great brand, and it's located now in Silicon Valley, Manchester, and London. This will be the first location on the eastern seaboard of the United States, right here in South Beach. Next slide. So we went to the planning board last week. We adjusted some awk loads and some seat counts, and then this is where your jurisdiction kind of intertwines with the planning board in that they look at the operational aspects of the outdoor bar counter. You all look at the aesthetics. They approved the relocation of the outdoor bar counter from the west side of the property to the east side of the property. And it's for you all today to determine whether that's appropriate. Next slide. This is just showing what happened. The awk load increased rather slightly, but the seat count really decreased by over 60 seats. Next slide. This is where the bar counter was. Note in that drawing it's located at 3. That was how it was originally approved. Next slide. This is where we're proposing to relocate it on the east side of the pool deck area. Next slide. And here are the requests specific to your jurisdiction, except for number 4, which is joint. First is the addition of operable glass door within the existing historic opening of Haddon Hall building, number 1. Number 2, addition of new egress door in Haddon Hall building to satisfy life safety requirements. Number 3, enlarged window opening at south elevation of Haddon Hall building to satisfy second egress requirement for Dixon Cafe. 4, approval of relocated pool bar. The 5th one, Michael Belush already described. It's a waiver to permit the demolition of a non-contributing building. It's within the center south of the pool prior to the issuance of the master permit. This is an authority you all have under the code. It just helps developers sometimes expedite the redevelopment process. Next slide. Staff is recommending approval of all of our requested modifications. Next slide. Now I'm going to turn it over to Chris and have him walk you through the changes to his design.
Good morning. Chris Evans, Rotate Studio. I'm the design principal in our office, and I'm here representing Kia on behalf of the project. Sorry, I could not be there in person today. My intent was to be there, but due to a family conflict, I was not able to be in person. So thank you for hearing me virtually. So our first request is the addition of the operable glass door within the historic opening. So if you see on the left, the previously approved, you can see the just south of those pair of double doors, there was an existing fixed windows. On the right, what we are proposing is an operable partition utilizing the existing opening. We're not changing the opening size. We are simply changing to make the window glazing system an operable door. And the goal there is to really to activate the courtyard of this property, which is really kind of the heart, conceptual heart of the property, utilizing the great Miami weather. And so we really wanted to be able to connect this interior bar to the terrace. This is there to help support the function, the event, and then to activate this facade. Next slide. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong screen. I've got two screens up. So this is the existing photographs of the west side of the Haddon Hall building, and you can see on the left the existing building that is the non-contributing building to the left, which is being removed. But this at the moment is somewhat of it's almost kind of an alley and a circulation. But as we remove that other building, this really becomes kind of a prime component of this hotel and property. And like I said, really very directly connected to the courtyard and the pool experience. And so we feel that the connectivity of the operable partition is critical. Next slide, please. So on this slide, you can see on the left the existing three-dimensional scan that we had completed of the building. So really just you can see the existing mullions and the existing opening. And then on the right, this is a proposed rendering of that opening. And so you can see the windows open and stack to the side so that the interior and the exterior can be integrated, so that we can have that kind of beautiful weather introducing into the lobby or into the pre-function space, and vice versa. This will also help support the activity and the activation of the exterior component of the bar, which we'll talk about in a moment. But this courtyard is really the kind of heart of this property. Next slide. So one of the things that we were very careful to do is we really wanted to still engage the historic design. So while this is an operable partition, we are looking to use the existing horizontal muntins in the new window or the new operable partition to match the existing pattern. So you can see those there in the kind of stacked position where those muntins match what was in there historically. Next slide. So this is showing a little bit further to the north. You can see the new bar for materiality that is extending from the inside to the exterior. And once again, this is there to help support events and to support the pool. So utilizing the existing building facade as the backdrop on the either right and left of the bar, and yeah. Next slide, please. So this slide is regarding request number 2, the life safety egress door. As we continue to develop the design, we have a code required second egress for life safety required. We are proposing this door here, which is going to be utilizing an existing window that is located on this facade, and expanding that existing opening versus creating a completely new opening, but expanding the existing to provide that egress route. we were very careful on this particular opening to utilize because it is not facing Collins. It is kind of a inward facing, north facing facade, not directly in elevation from Collins. We also chose this due to its proximity to the existing ADA egress ramp, which is directly to the right. And so I think the next slide will show you the elevation. So on this, you can see the lower image is that south facade. The existing window is
Hold on, Chris.
the low window there on the left.
Chris, just wait 1 second.
How much more time would you like?
5 minutes, Madam Chair? Thanks.
Continue.
Yes, quickly.
And then you can see the door there on the upper view where we've enlarged that existing opening in the same location as the original window. Next slide, please. This is related to request number 4, the relocation of the bar as previously shown. On the left side, highlighted there with red bubble, is where we had proposed the last time we had presented this project on the west side of the courtyard. Next slide, please. On this revised location, we have moved it just simply to the opposite side of the courtyard onto the west-facing elevation of Haddon Hall. We did this for a number of reasons. One, we wanted to have some sight line of it from Washington Avenue, so that it's kind of a backdrop as you kind of see through the entry portal through the courtyard. As discussed, we want to help support the events on the interior. And really, we wanted to create a facade for the edge of the west side of Haddon Hall that is activated and really engages with the courtyard now that we've removed or planning to remove the non-contributing building that is kind of in between those two original locations. We feel this is a very important way to activate that courtyard. Next slide, I think. Here you can see the enlarged plan, where we have the interior side and the bar, and how the exterior bar is simply an extension of that bar. So we're consolidating the F&B to this zone on this for this part of the project. Supporting the operable partition and the terrace overlooking the pool. And here's a rendering again of that bar and the connectivity you can see as it engages with the interior. And then on the next slide, a view of the interior from kind of a view from the meeting doors looking out. So as you can see, the operable partition on the left, the kind of main entrance out to the courtyard, and then of course we'll have a very beautiful lush green courtyard. We believe the kind of enhancing the tropical plants and the Miami vibe is a very important part of this project and very important part of the Treehouse brand.
Okay, I'll take this over.
Yep. Thank you.
So there's a unique provision in the code that allows you all to grant demolition of only non-contributing structures before the issuance of any master permit for a project that you all approve. So we're here today asking for your permission to go ahead and demolish this building that was built probably no more than like 10 or 15 years ago by a prior client of our firm. The purpose of that building was just to increase the unit count back then, nothing else. So I think it really opens up the space and makes it look much nicer with it gone. So that's it. We are all here and available for your questions.
Do we have any questions for the applicant? Right?
I believe that building was always going to be demolished from your last set of plans, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So you're just asking for the waiver to make it easier?
We have to, ask for it.
Are all the changes that are here before us now because of the Starwood brand came and said these are things that they wanted to change?
Some are, some, like with regard to the life safety requirements that attach to the Dixon Cafe, just something that wasn't thought about in the first iteration of the plans. So now we're back asking for that.
Okay. The other thing I didn't really see him talk about is the enlargement of the one window. Why do you feel you need that one window enlarged? And how does that overall look with the rest of the building? You know, I mean,
Yeah, let's
I
go back to
couldn't
that
quite read
slide.
that out.
You-
Chris, go ahead and weigh in
Yeah.
on this.
Well, in order to make it a functional egress opening, we have to enlarge it. As you can see, the window that is there now is rather small and rather high. And so in order to facilitate the functional egress, we have to make that larger. But we did not want to do is create a new opening that wasn't existing, that did not relate to the building. And so what we're simply doing is taking that
Okay,
small
I
window from.
misunderstood. I thought it was enlarging the window was separate from the new egress.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, it is the exact reason of the
My
enlargement.
misunderstanding, thank you.
No worries.
Madam Chair, two things. Could I swear in Mr. Evans and then ask for disclosures on this application?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Chris, do you swear to tell do you swear that the testimony you've given is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, thank you.
Thank you. And are there any disclosures on this application?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing else.
Any other questions for the applicant? Any other questions for the applicant? Do we have public comment?
We should take public comment now. Anybody present in chambers would like to speak on the application?
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Meg Lusto. I'm the Executive Director of the Miami Design Preservation League. I would like to congratulate the new Chair and Vice Chair as well. Our Advocacy Committee considered the items on today's agenda, and I'm going to read to you what we've already sent, but I want to put it on the record. The Miami Design Preservation League appreciates the applicant's continued investment in this project and the ongoing rehabilitation of this important property. MDPL previously reviewed and commented on the broader redevelopment proposal for the Haddon Hall complex and the Washington Avenue parcels. The revisions currently before you appear limited in scope and consist primarily of modest adjustments to elements previously approved by the board. Based on the letter of intent, the proposed changes appear to be relatively minor, including operational and life safety improvements and adjustments within the framework of the previously approved plan. MDPL finds these revisions to be in modest scope and generally consistent with the board's prior approvals. As such, MDPL supports the proposed adjustments and appreciates the applicant's continued effort to work within the parameters of the previously approved project. Thank you.
There's nobody online with their hand raised?
Okay. So, do you have any rebuttal to any comment?
No.
I didn't think so.
All's good.
Any board comment?
I'd like to make a motion to approve this project as per staff's conditions.
I would second that. Starwood has a great reputation.
Yes, they do.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Great. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Big load off my.
Our next application is HPB 25-0681. This is the Venetian Causeway Bridges 2 through 12. Now, the Venetian Causeway was designated as a City of Miami Beach Historic Site in 1988 and was subsequently listed in the National Register of Historic Places in 1989. Now, back when this was designated in 1988, that report identified the ornamental double X pattern concrete bridge design as the most architecturally distinctive feature of the Causeway Bridges and established view standards requiring that any replacement structure or railing or other design element be largely consistent to replicate the appearance of the original item being replaced. There's a long history of this whole project. I'm sure this will be described in the presentation. But in terms of what we reviewed, the railings that are there right now are larger than the original railings. These railings were replaced back in the late 90s. So none of those railings that are there now are original. They're a little bit larger than the original design. This proposal is to replicate what's there right now with the same pattern, larger than the original. The light fixtures proposed are consistent, referencing the original 1926 light poles. These light poles that are there now, none of them are original as well. They were installed during the 1996 to 1999 rehabilitation to replicate the historic design. The new proposal is largely consistent with what's there right now, maintaining the same historic character. We note that these bridges will be elevated slightly to take in consideration sea level rise, also widen a little bit to take in consideration needs of multi-modes of transportation across the bridges. We're supportive of this application, which largely is replacing elements that were replaced previously, recommending approval. I'll turn it over to the applicant for a presentation.
And do we have any questions for staff before we go to the applicant? Okay, go ahead.
Good morning, members of the Historic Preservation Board. Thank you so much for having us here today. I am here to present on the Venetian Causeway COA application. There we go. I am Gabriel Delgado. I am the project manager on behalf of Miami-Dade County Department of Transportation and Public Works, Highway Bridge Engineering Division. I'm also joined today by Mr. Rick Crooks. He is the design project manager with EAC Consulting. Starting with the project scope, we propose to replace bridges 2 through 12 along the Venetian Causeway. Basically, all of the bridges are fixed bridges except for bridge number 10, which is a bascule bridge, a movable bridge. The scope of the project proposes to provide a wider typical section than currently exists out there to meet with current safety design criteria. The new design takes into account all historic designations along the Venetian Causeway. And a part of the scope is to also raise the vertical clearances of all the bridges. This is in efforts to improve the resilience to any coastal flooding and storm surges. The original bridge was constructed in 1926, and at the time it had an anticipated design life of 50 years. The Venetian Causeway consists of 12 bridges, 10 of which are fixed bridges and 2 bascule bridges, one on the west side and one on the east side. All of the bridges are designated as historical landmarks by the cities of Miami and Miami Beach. And since its construction, the causeway has endured numerous hurricanes, and as a result of their low-lying vertical clearances, it's also experienced significant deterioration. As a result of this deterioration, we've had to go out and perform numerous repairs, much to the detriment of the traveling public along the causeway. Because of new design codes and the needs to bring some resiliency to the bridges, we needed to go out and consider how do we meet the current design and safety criteria for the bridges. Continuing on the existing conditions, we should note that all of the bridges proposed to be replaced are considered and categorized as structurally deficient, meaning they all have ratings of 50 or below out of 100 in the structural deficiency rating. Some of the considerations are because the significant load-carrying members are in poor or worse condition due to the deterioration or damage, and it provides poor adequacy of the waterway openings. So it's basically any closures of the causeway, any kind of repairs they create intolerable traffic effects to the traveling public along the causeway. The existing typical section provides 12-foot travel lanes, 4-foot sidewalks, and a 4-foot bicycle lane. And should note that it doesn't meet the residential island typical section. The proposed typical section would increase significantly the sidewalk widths to 9 feet and the bicycle lanes, and also offering a separation with a small curb between the travel lanes and the bicycle lanes. This new typical section will meet the current design criteria as established by Florida Department of Transportation. At the time, we designed it per the January 2024 FDM. Here's a profile rendering of what the proposed fixed bridges are going to look like. They are designed to mimic the existing bridges, complete with the arched beams, the railing design, the lighting fixtures, and it's raised to meet current resilience standards. The proposed movable bridge, likewise, is designed to mimic the existing movable bridge, as well as the existing tender house. It is also being raised to meet current resiliency. In addition to that, we've also implemented some new machinery upgrades and elevation of the machinery to be able to improve storm repairs and being able to operate the bridge as quickly as possible following a storm. The original light poles are depicted here. This is a photo from the Historical Museum of Miami. And the light poles as they exist today, note that the existing light poles today are from the 1996 to 1999, the late 90s rehabilitation. They replaced the original light poles. The current light poles are 13 feet high, the ones along the roadway. They feature an acorn-style head and a frosted clear polycarbonate material. The proposed project will replace the light poles as they exist now. We are mimicking the same look as they exist now, mimicking the original appearance of the original light poles. This is some historical photographs of the Venetian. We're highlighting the historic original railing of the Venetian Causeway. Note that the original railway, the original railing was replaced as part of the rehabilitation in the late 90s. Our proposed railing would be replacing this late 90s railway railing, but it will mimic the same historical look and feel of the original railing while bringing it up to current crash standards as dictated by AASHTO. Here's a few more photographs of the proposed railing. It matches exactly the existing railings, and they follow the same design used, I guess it was in the 1996 replacement, not 99, 96. Some secondary considerations, the aesthetics for the tender house, we will be mimicking the tender house as it exists today, and the octagon entry towers won't be touched as part of this project. Just wanted to note that public involvement has been a significant portion of this project, not only in the design phase, but previously in the project development and environment phase when FDOT was managing the project. They held numerous public meetings and workshops taking into not only the general public, but stakeholder comments and make sure that we included that as part of our commitments into the design phase. The PD&E received LDCA, that's Location Design Concept Acceptance, in December of 2022 when the county inherited the contract to continue on to the final design phase. We've held numerous meetings with Venetian Condo Association, public involvement meeting back in for the 30%. We recently had a meeting with the Miami-Dade Transportation Advisory Aesthetics Review Committee. And we have a public meeting coming up now, March 18th at the 1000 Venetian Way condo building. So all are welcome to attend. It's a hybrid meeting, both in person, online. To summarize, the proposed project will be utilizing the same aesthetics, the same look and feel of the existing causeway. We are going to incorporate low profile arched beam bridges. We will be using the same geometric design of the existing traffic railings. We're incorporating that into the new traffic railings while still meeting the same AASHTO, or better actually, the current AASHTO crash testing. We're proposing to replicate the historic lighting fixtures, and the east Basque Bridge tender house will be replicated as well. Here's some upcoming milestones. We anticipate completion of the design by this summer, the summer months. It's dependent on the review process. We are in direct coordination and partnership with FDOT on this project, so we are adhering to their standards and their protocols. So not only are we doing internal design reviews, but FDOT is ensuring that we're abiding by all current criteria. The utility and permit coordination is ongoing, and that will dictate our begin procurement date. We're targeting summer of 2026. However, it's all dependent on the permitting and when we receive those. Should all go to plan, we anticipate going into construction in summer of 2027, and we estimate 60 months construction duration. And that's it for the presentation. Thank you for your time. Open to any questions from the board. I will also ask that Mr. Rick Crooks join me up on the podium in case there's any specific design questions. Thank you.
Do we have any board disclosures?
Just my only question is, for 5 years, all these people that live on the Venetian Causeway are going to have to go maybe the opposite direction from where they want to go to be able to get around because you're taking out bridge by bridge?
So one important consideration we had was the maintenance of traffic. We recognize that we don't want to influence, we don't have a slide on that, but we don't want to affect the traveling public like that. So the designers provided a very good maintenance of traffic plan where we would basically construct the bridges in groups and in phases. And none of those bridges will be fully closed. So for example, the East Basque Bridge, we are proposing to place a temporary bridge to ensure that two-way traffic is maintained at all times. Anytime the fixed bridges are being constructed, we will maintain a single lane of two-way traffic with automatic flaggers on each end.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically, we're building the bridges in phases. We cut the bridge in half, we maintain traffic on the existing half while we build the new half, and then we flip. And that just allows you at least one lane, with two-way traffic, and so it does alleviate some of the problem.
Okay, thank you.
I didn't follow, how much wider are the new bridges compared to what is there now? I know you said the bike lanes and the pedestrian were 9 and 9, bike lanes are 5 and 5?
I believe the new bridges, off the top of my head, 16 feet wider than the
16 feet wider.
existing. And that would provide for the wider bike lanes, 9 feet now, as opposed to 4 feet, and wider sidewalks, 9 feet as opposed to 4.
And what are the
Sorry,
travel lanes?
bike lanes, 5 feet.
Sorry. What are the travel lanes? Are they still 12 or are they?
They're being reduced to 10.
Okay.
As opposed to the existing 12 feet. But there is some buffer between that proposed curb separation from the bicycle lane and the travel lane. So there is still a little bit of flexible space there.
And you're placing a curb between the bike lane and the travel lane as opposed to like the CEQA dividers?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, it's not that anymore. Yeah, we're actually using a ZICLA, right? And so,
Sorry?
but we were proposing the ZICLA.
Right.
But we have a $100 million grant from the federal government, so we have to comply with the Buy America Act. So ZICLA isn't made in America, so now we're looking for an alternative to the ZICLA.
But it'll be a solid curb as opposed to
Yeah,
the.
it'll be a solid curb and intermittent. It's kind of like what they have with the Armadillo, but it would be.
Oh, okay, so there's still
better.
openings. It's
Right,
not it's not a curb.
Right, they'll still be only, but it's considered a curb of sorts, unlike the Armadillo.
Okay, thank you.
You're reducing the travel lanes, the vehicular travel lanes right now?
From a 12-foot
By
width to a 10-foot width.
That's a significant difference. Why so much?
We, the DOT in 2024 so as to give more safety to cyclists. they allowed a reduction of travel lanes to 10 feet if you're in a slow speed limit zone, and in not such a, like a high traffic area. So we took advantage of that. It is going to help with slowing the traffic, but it's also going to provide a lot of safety to the cyclists as they ride through there. When we presented to the residents, they were very happy with it because, you know, they're all about trying to calm traffic going through there.
Fair enough. As long as the residents had their input.
Yeah,
it was
we,
a part of
during,
that.
yeah, as also the PM for the PD&E, the Project Development and Environment Study. So that lasted from 2014 to 2022. So during that time, we had extensive, coordination with the public, did numerous, meetings with the homeowners associations, presentations, PAG meetings, the whole 9 yards. And we got full acceptance of going that route.
The reason I ask is because, to me, with the amount of vehicular traffic we have on that causeway, narrowing it down to 10 feet is going to be a little bit difficult for some people to navigate, but, I'm
Well, we do have, we have 7 foot that's designated for the bike area, but 2 feet of that is a buffer. So the bikes are in a 5 foot area, you have a 2 foot buffer, and then you have the 10 foot travel lane.
So perhaps visually you'll have a different effect on the drivers as well.
Sorry?
I say visually it'll have a different effect on the drivers as well.
Yeah, for
It
sure.
provides a natural traffic calming if the drivers see a smaller lane, but there's still adequate space for larger vehicles to fit there.
Thank you.
Mitch?
You'll be replacing existing foundations,
Yes.
and is much of these replacement items precast, spanning the length of poured in place?
No, the foundations will be 4 foot drill shafts. So, we didn't want to use precast because they have to be, driven into the ground and the vibration and the noise, et cetera. So we went with 4 foot drill shafts. It's less obtrusive to the neighborhood. And, then for the superstructure, for the beams, yes, we will be using precast beams. So that will speed things up a little bit.
Okay, you mentioned intolerable traffic impacts. I hope that's kept to a minimum.
I think that was someone else who mentioned intolerable, but there will be traffic impacts. There's no way around it, but we have definitely taken every measure to try and minimize it as much as possible.
It's quite an enormous project. I guess the only thing I can compare it to is what they're doing downtown on 395 and all the connectors. It's impressive. I look forward to seeing it finished.
Thank you. So do we.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. And the county has been really great in trying to satisfy the needs of the public, including that temperage, because that's quite a thing to come in. At the Bridge 10, the Basque Bridge, they'll be putting in a temporary bridge.
Yeah.
So that will be open all the time. The feds also thought it was a great project, and that's why they're funding half of the amount.
Can you tell us more about the octagonal entries that'll remain? Those were, I guess, original from, what was it, 1925?
25, 26, yes. Yeah. Those are at the very beginning on Bridge 1, and as you all know, Bridge 1 was previously replaced over time, so we're not touching Bridge 1 at all, and that project did not affect the entranceway, so we're not gonna mess with them. We're going from 2 onwards.
And of course, they've been determined to be structurally sound.
I can't speak to that. I haven't, we stayed out of the
Gotcha.
envelope of Bridge One.
All right.
Ray, you have another question?
Just one more question. Your bridges are 16 feet wider, and how do you tie it into the roadways in between the bridges, which really don't have any place to expand?
So actually, in widening the bridges, it is tying in perfectly with the roadway right-of-way. We're not expanding the right-of-way at all at the approaches. The bridges were actually a little bit,
So you're saying the roadway now is already wider than the bridges, and you're just bringing the bridges to the same width? Okay.
correct.
Thank you.
We're matching at the approaches.
Okay.
There are a few areas where we have to just go just a tad wider, and then we're raising the profile, so we're putting it on a gravity wall. But it's gonna tie in pretty well.
Any other questions for the applicant? Public comment?
Anybody in chambers for public comment?
Good morning. Meg Lusto, Executive Director, Miami Design Preservation League. We're at 1001 Ocean Drive. We recognize the Venetian Causeway as an historically significant civic structure and an important contributing resource within the Venetian Islands Historic Resource Group. The causeway represents a distinctive historic gateway between Miami and Miami Beach and remains an important element of the cultural landscape of Biscayne Bay. Our original position was to ask for more information. Obviously, we were concerned about such major alterations to such an important historic element. I think we've heard today that the city and the project managers have taken extreme care to mimic the original details, including the railing, the lighting, fixtures, the tender house. They've also given additional consideration to the safety of both drivers and pedestrians and cyclists. So I will take that information back to our advocacy committee, and I can't change our position or make a new position in the moment, but I think that they will be pleased. Thank you.
Mr. Goltano, if I just have to swear you in, do you swear that to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Matthew Goltanoff. I live at 125 Jefferson Avenue. I'm here to speak in support of this project. The outreach, the design, the whole process has been going on for so long, and many people are excited to see this finally move forward. As many of you know, this is an important link between the mainland and Miami Beach for people who are driving, walking, as well as riding bicycles and micromobility devices. And so on that note, the question about maintenance of traffic, I think also we need to understand what the plan is for I think the number is over 1,500 people a day that ride across the Venetian Causeway. So I think that there should be, or I ask that there is also a significant education and outreach as part of that process. In addition, I think that we can all appreciate the care that's given for the historic details of the bridge. I do ask that the lighting, though, also take extra consideration for lighting the roadway, because at times, at least right now, it can be very dark at night, which is a challenge for anyone, no matter what mode they're using. And then finally, I just, Haskell, to your point about the lanes, I actually think the lanes were reduced. And today, because of the bike lanes, they were added after the construction. So I think that the lanes actually might be 10 or 11 feet effective width today. I know you had a question about the reduction. So I think that's something that should be, you should get some follow-up on the actual true width today to address your concern. But I think it is on that same realm as what we have today. So overall, I'm in support, and I hope this moves forward and construction starts soon. Thank you.
Anybody else in chambers? Do we have anyone online? Your mic is on.
There's nobody online with their hand raised.
Do we have any board member comment? Do we have a motion, or you have a comment?
No, I'd like to make a motion to approve as per staff's conditions.
Second?
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0.
Good luck.
You're gonna need it.
Yeah. You can chime in.
I know I can, but.
Yeah.
Okay, the next application is HPB 25-0645 for 235 Washington Avenue. This is an application requesting a certificate of appropriateness for the total demolition of the existing two-story structure and its replacement with the construction of a new recreation field for the abutting previously approved school located at 251 Washington Avenue. As noted in our staff report, the applicant is proposing the total demolition of the existing structure, which was constructed in 1938 and designed by architect B. Kingston Hall in the Art Deco style of architecture. The applicant has also submitted a report prepared by Yusuf Hakim Consulting Engineering, which states that the structure does not comply with today's building code, and even when certain parts of it were built, the materials of the structural systems are compromised and cannot support the loads imposed on it. We recommend demolition of the structure. Staff noted in a report, we typically do not recommend replication of a structure that is not of an exemplary design. Even if this was to be replicated, to elevate it to flood level would really change the street character. We did note in other applications, there's a variety of options that can be taken for a structure demolition like this. We had an application for 336 Meridian, where the board approved a structure retaining some walls and incorporating that as a garden element in the entrance feature of a new building because it did not require elevating the structure to flood. It was like a design element for the garden and allowed retention of that historic fabric for the street front. Staff is supportive of some sort of recall or recollection of the original mass and structure of the site. We're recommending incorporation of a redesigned garden wall fence feature to sort of recall that sort of character element at the front. As part of our recommendation, we are recommending approval of this application subject to that design coming back to us. However, if the board would like to see the design, we recommend approval of the demolition and that design come back to the board at the May meeting for further review. That'll turn over to the applicant for their presentation.
If you will, do we have any board questions for staff regarding the staff report? Okay.
So, I have a
We do,
question.
okay.
Yeah, Michael, regarding what you just mentioned, so your staff's recommending demolition and then to return with the design?
A design for some sort of garden wall or element at the front. Okay.
Michael?
Yes. Good morning, Madam Chair, Board Member Staff, Michael Larkin, 200 South Biscayne Boulevard, here today representing the applicant. Rob, can you pull up the presentation? So I'm joined here today by John Marshall, the principal of Base Camp. Ryan Alderman is appearing virtually. He's our project architect. Our structural engineer, Yusuf Hakim, is here. Steve Avdikoff is our historic resource consultant. He is appearing virtually, along with Charles Atkins, our landscape architect, and my colleagues Paul Savage and Rob Alvarez are here. Next slide. You all are familiar with Base Camp. It's one of the newest private schools here in Miami Beach. It employs a really innovative learning style with very small classrooms, and it has achieved already a high degree of acclaim in our community in the last 2 to 3 years. You're looking at the Base Camp branch that you all approved within the last couple of years, designed by Architectonica. Next slide. These are renderings of how it will appear from Washington Avenue. I did a hard hat tour last week. It was really informative. I got my hard hat on fine. I could not do the vest. I had to have 2 people help me. I was rather embarrassed. But I walked through the whole project, and it struck me how complex it was. Unlike a typical resi project or a pure commercial project, building a school building is incredibly complex, and I gained an appreciation of that last week. Next slide. This is the subject property bordered in yellow. You have an alley, Collins Court, to the east. You have what used to be the former library. Now it's office of the Miami Beach Police Internal Affairs Department to our south. Then you have Washington Avenue with Resi buildings across, and then Base Camp, of course, is to the north. Next slide. The zoning is RPS 3, which is ideal for educational institutional use. And we have the Ocean Beach Local Historic District, where this building is a contributing building. Next slide. When this property was in operation as a hostel, it was a classic neighborhood nuisance. It received multiple property violations throughout its tenure as a hostel. Next slide. And then no less than almost 60 police reports in the last few years before John thankfully purchased it, because as you can imagine, that hostel use could not coexist with his school children use just north. Next slide. This is a context slide. The property is shaded on the top, and then the context is on the bottom with Base Camp to the north, and then the police office to the south. Next slide. These are pictures of the current conditions of the property. Next slide. These are further pictures. The central one denotes the spalling that occurs throughout the property. Next slide. We can't overstate the importance of having recreational open space for children. It really enlivens their learning environment and improves their attention span when they're in classes. They look forward to recess all day long, and that goes along with having a school. Right now, we have to go to Flamingo Park, which is a little bit of an inconvenience, and it's disrupted to the day. This would bring their recreational open space immediately adjacent to the school where it should be. Next slide. This is a layout of how it will look with a recreational open space. I prefer soccer, so I'm glad John chose soccer. I played soccer in high school, but it could be anything. It could be any type of recreational use within that property. Next slide. We took great care in trying to pick out the right type of turf. It's Tiger Turf Everlay Spring Pro, which is permeable and allows a great deal of stormwater to go through it during very heavy rain events. Next slide. And it also shows you like how they have brown commingled with the green in order to give a appearance of actual turf. Next slide. These are the fence elevation, Washington east and south. Next slide. This is the proposed elevation of how it could look. This is the landscaping obviously in front with a fence. Next slide. This is another view of it, presumably at sunrise. Next slide. Now this area south of 5th is a magnet for failing levels of service when it comes to stormwater management. If you note, the red in this map is all the areas where the city is doing poorly in its stormwater management. And as you can see with the blue circle, particularly in the south of 5th neighborhood, there are multiple zones here where stormwater management is just not going well. Next slide. So when we called the Public Works Department and asked about how many flood events have there been, how many complaints have there been, you see our neighbor directly across the street has called in multiple times for flooding when the flood is standing water, and that's without the benefit of a hurricane. Next slide. As you know, base flood elevation is designed to try to bring structures up so they won't get flooded out at any type of flooding event. The standard BFE in this neighborhood is 8.0 in GVD. Our finished floor slab is at 6.1 in GVD, but the building official requires that the slab be built at 10 feet in GVD, which is 8 feet of base flood elevation plus an increment of 2 feet of freeboard. We do not comply with that even close. Next slide. So if you look at the bottom dotted line, that's base flood elevation. If you look at the center dotted line, that's where the building official requires the slab of new buildings to be. And if you look at the very top dotted line, that is where many developers nowadays are placing the slab of their building at BFE +5. That's the maximum extent of freeboard that you can use, but it also very likely prevents any damage from flooding. Next slide. Staff recognizes this, noting that even if this building was reconstructed or replicated, the first floor could not be used based upon the building official's requirement that this floor slab actually start at 10 feet in GVD. Next slide. So now I'm going to invite Yusuf Hakim, our structural engineer, up to the podium. He's going to go through his site observations. He visited the property multiple times, the current structural systems, the structural evaluations, and the concrete testing, which is very relevant because if you all remember, there was a building called the Sea Spray on Ocean Drive, 304 Ocean Drive. During the hurricanes of 2008, 2009, that building suffered a partial collapse based upon many factors, but really based upon the weakness of its concrete. So it's a very real issue that's out there. But I'd like to invite Yusuf up and offer his testimony.
Good morning. I wasn't sworn in.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Yusuf Hashim, 1211 Stillwater Drive, Miami Beach. Like Michael said, we visited the property multiple times, and we have issued a structural report indicating many issues in terms of construction of the structure, plus the wear and tear, which included concrete spalling, repairs that were done incorrectly that re-cracked again. And because of that, because of the roof also had multiple issues in terms of leakage, water intrusion, there was a lot of rotting in within the structural wood framing of the building. Some of the issues are, the stressing mainly occurred because of the concrete is old. We're going to get into that in a second. The foundations, they had two portions. They had some on slab on grade, some on shallow foundation supported by stem wall. In terms of all the wood joist systems in the building, they were fire cut into the masonry, meaning it's lacking lateral support in the case of a hurricane. Openings, there was no, supposed to be, there are none reinforced masonry openings or walls where they start spanning more than 32 inches. So that does not comply with code for these days. Strapping on the roof was also lacking, and that is throughout the structure. In terms of the concrete strength, and this is kind of boils down to the importance of this whole thing, is that the concrete itself, you can fix cracking, you can fix spalling. The concrete itself, the matrix of the concrete is not good. We designed these days for 5,000 PSI concrete, and our numbers came in between 1,500 to 2,500 PSI concrete, which is not good for structures, for structural members in the building. Another thing was this is the same slide. Other thing is the carbonation depth, the effect of atmospheric CO2 onto the concrete. It penetrates the concrete, it reduces the alkaline values of the concrete, which makes the protective layer around the reinforcing rebar go away. Hence, rusting will.
Would you like some more time?
Please.
How much?
5 more minutes, Madam Chair. Thank you very much.
So the concrete protection, the concrete protection it's supposed to have on rebars is gone. So the reinforcing rebars will always rust and continue to rust. That's for the carbonation. And also the chlorides, that's an issue in multiple historic buildings where they used beach sand. They used to use beach sand, and the beach sand had chlorides in it. Chlorides will make the rebars rust, and and the concrete cracking because of the rebars are rusting, and it's a continuous process that you cannot stop.
Great, thank you very much, Yusuf. So in the staff recommendation, they're proposing what Michael already described as a unique path forward. They are tasked us with trying to create an architectural expression that recalls the facade of the building. We are in favor of this approach. Next slide. We, of course, will do the plaque as also called for in the staff recommendation. Next slide. The genesis of this is what Michael alluded to, is at 313 Meridian Avenue, there's a wooden bungalow back in 2008 that was in severe disrepair. The building official ordered its demolition. Next slide. So when that happens, you all have a role in the after the fact demo process, and you all issued this order which required the complete reconstruction of that wooden bungalow in every detail. Next slide. A few years later, in 2014, we were retained by Mass Capital, and we were lucky to work with an extraordinary architect called Rene Gonzalez. Rene approached us and staff with the idea of a more abstract, modern interpretation of the wooden bungalow that would be in front of a project that's now called Louver House. Back then, the board agreed, as you can see on the right, they struck the conditions that required an identical reconstruction. Next slide. As you can see, this is what it looks like. It's in front of the Louver House right now. It's just a reinterpretation of this wooden bungalow. Next slide. These are different angles of it. Next slide. 2D flat elevation. Next slide. And this is a picture of what it looks like now. It is abstract, that's true, but it's a modern interpretation of the wooden bungalow trying to keep the spirit. We would like to do the very same thing. I don't know if, Paul, you can pass out. Since the staff rec published, we have been talking to our design professionals, seeing if we could put something together that would be helpful in this regard and satisfy staff's condition. Of course, there's going to be extra copies for staff, I hope. Yep, good. Next slide. So this is the elevation of the Parkside Hotel. And what you're seeing in the handout is something that could be made out of aluminum or other materials, but we're trying our best within a short period of time to comply with staff's direction. And we feel that it is a good direction, and we're very willing to either work with staff on an administrative basis or come back before you all in May. We might need a variance for the height of it because it'll be on the property line to mimic where the front elevation is now. I'll let Michael weigh in on that. But next slide. Next slide. So finally, we also reached out to Sofna. We did a presentation at the most recent Sofna meeting, and it was well attended by the residents of South of Fifth, and the whole board was there, and they adopted a resolution supporting our project. So with that, Madam Chair, that concludes our presentation now. We're happy to answer any questions the board members might have.
Okay, do we have any board disclosures?
I did tour with the
Applicant?
attorney and with John.
Yes, sir. Anyone else? Randy? Okay. I had a,
I'm sorry.
did you have a disclosure?
I'm sorry?
Disclosure?
I can't hear you.
Board disclosure.
No.
I did have a Zoom meeting with the applicant. Couldn't walk the property, so. Do you have a question for the applicant?
Yes. What is the lighting proposed for the field?
Minimal. It's not going to be there at night, so the students won't be there at night, so there's really no real need for lighting. If you all feel it's necessary, we can incorporate some lighting at night, but
No, the sports field lighting is extremely powerful and has a huge impact on adjacent areas, and if you're not doing any, great.
we hope the kids will be gone by 5.
I mean, if you have some type of a gate system, it'll be locked anyway, so it's not like you have to have activity at nighttime. Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Further questions for the applicant? Haskell?
It seems to me like little by little, we're chipping away at the history of the city, and it's really unfortunate. I understand what the structural engineer was talking about in terms of the deterioration of the building, but it's deterioration by neglect, it seems like. Have you considered maintaining the facade of the building, buttressing it with new columns, and just preserving that element of that building and just preserving that history a bit, instead of this gate that you'll have to paint every year or so? Maintaining that facade and integrating a gate or whatever into the facade of the building. You can eliminate the rest of the building, but have you considered that?
Madam Chair, can I go into a detailed response?
That's fine with me.
Okay. So Ralph, can you get to that? So
Pull it up for us, please.
there are some practical issues with that, and I just want to go through them all with you. Can we pull up the presentation? I don't think anyone's home.
EJ, here we go.
Okay. So the first one, as you know, as a structural engineer, the front wall is there now because it's tied into the rest of the building. That's how it maintains its structural integrity. When you remove that building, then you have to brace it. And what you're showing here is bracing it. Next slide. So what you have here is the front facade, the bracing behind, and then presumably some landscaping and another fence that is necessary because the children should not be in that area where the bracing is. That takes up a good deal of property, but that's only if we are able to come in from behind and demo. What I'm going to show you now or explain to you is that it's going to be just about impossible to demo from behind. Next slide. Here you'll see the power poles that are in the center of our rear wall and to the southern corner. What happens, Haskell, as you know, because you're in the construction industry, typically you bring in a piece of heavy equipment called an excavator. You know, it's made by Caterpillar. I kind of watched some YouTube videos over the weekend to really fully understand how it operates. And the way it operates, it's set on two oval sets of treads. And then the heavy equipment actually swivels. It can have a whole 180-degree freedom if given the opportunity. But here, as you can see, it's restricted by the power poles. It could not swivel to the right or to the left any appreciable degree to deposit the demo debris into a dump truck, which cannot be in the alley for any period of time because we can't block access to the alley. That's why if you look at the base camp, the way it's being built right now, we've closed the sidewalk in front of it because we can't close the alley. The other compelling reason here is that OSHA has a regulation in place that creates a 20-foot radius around power lines, which says heavy equipment cannot enter that 20-foot radius. If you go back one to the power lines, you'll see a 20-foot radius there would just about preclude the use of an excavator to come in from the back and try to offload debris in a dump truck, which can't be there, I would say, more than 30 minutes before us getting a citation from the city. So there are practical reasons, Haskell, why we can't demo from the rear, and therefore we have to come from the front, and the front elevation is almost lot line to lot line. So there's no room, even opportunity to scoop behind. So we've explored it. I've really thought about it in the last couple of weeks, reasons. If you can, we can't. But that's, my research kind of led me to that.
I appreciate your position, Michael. I understand that you have to make a case for your client. I don't buy the argument because I know that you can, as the structural engineer will vouch, you can perhaps, erect some moment-resisting columns, perhaps 3 feet deep, 18 inches wide behind the facade, and install a foundation to resist that lateral load on the facade of the building. So if you wanted to, there's a way to do it. It may be a little more, a bit costlier, but for me, I would much rather see that history, at least a portion of it, preserved in that area. And I will ask the structural engineer, if you will, please. Do you agree or disagree?
Yes and no. I understand where you're coming from. The issue here is that, to do just the straight column behind it and to hold it, it becomes like a sail, right? And like you said, then you're gonna have massive foundations for those columns.
It's not a massive foundation, I'm sorry. I beg to differ with you because this is a, 20-foot tall wall?
Yeah, which acts like a sail, and for 175 miles per hour wind.
But you could have openings, you could leave the openings intact, so it's not completely
Okay,
enclosed.
if we follow that reasoning, you have this wall on shallow foundations. You're gonna come behind it and you have to,
Right.
at least, it's gotta be 6 or 7 foot deep.
At least what? I'm sorry.
Your drill foundation is gotta be at least 6 or 7 foot deep for it to resist.
How far?
6 to 7 feet.
Okay.
Okay? So doing that, the existing foundation of this wall is only 18 inches deep. So that creates undermining of the existing wall. So you have to brace it. And there's a lot of gymnastics that go behind it, and we're not sure that actually could, will be able to do that.
Ray, I think, was next.
I
Or
don't
do you
want to, I don't want to belabor the point, but I know that you and I can sit there.
100%.
And on the back of a napkin, develop a concept to reinforce this wall and to maintain that building.
I know.
Okay.
Okay, going in line with what you were saying, Michael, what happens if we tear the whole building down and then you rebuild the front? Like the Setai had to rebuild, the entire hotel when it could no longer be saved. And the Historic Preservation Board said, okay, here's Disney-esque, here's your plans, rebuild it. And the Setai did. There's no reason that front could not be rebuilt as it currently is, with the openings blocking the view of the playground where the kids are going to be playing, and you have no idea who's going to be walking by and peering in, and who wants to see a great big high fence all the way around it. If you rebuilt the front of the building, whether you just do the front or you do the first 20 feet and have an office space above, and the first floor just open because it's above, the floodplain is in play here, or whatever, but to me, that's the correct way to do this. And anything else is a slippery slope of what's going on south of Fifth. And all what we've done on this board in every other project, they have had to keep part of the front, even if you go back to the firehouse. I mean, everybody says, oh, let's save that building, and it has to be torn. There's a lot of the features of that building that were saved, and I don't see this right now doing anything more than mimicking a fence. So I'd like to see something else. Thank you.
Mitch?
Yeah, I would have no problem with a exoskeleton system being used to support the existing facade.
Okay, thank you. Can I respond to Ray's? Because I don't want to interrupt Mitch.
Yes, go ahead.
It's just, I hear you, Ray, but when we're in modern times, sometimes you do that. For the building, the home in 1800 Michigan that you all approved several months ago in 2025, it was a retention of the garage. That was what we could do, and you all accepted that. But when given the opportunity, sometimes it's not the best approach just to retain a front wall. Sometimes when you're engaged with modern times and modern architecture, it's sometimes better to have a more contemporary expression of what was there. And that's why I feel that what happened to the Louvre House was really very successful. It was an abstract kind of reinterpretation of a wooden bungalow. I feel that if given the opportunity here, you all would be proud of the final result, because you would recognize the effort that's gone into it and how we're trying to pay homage to what was there, but what is clearly structurally deficient cannot remain, and it's under floodplain regulations. There's many reasons that militate in favor of its demolition, but we don't want to be insensitive to the idea that there was a building there. So if given the opportunity, I think that, and if you all want to see something within 60 days, we can come back and show you what we were talking about.
Do we have any other questions for the applicant? Less commentary, more questions? No? Okay. Do we have anybody in the chambers that wants to speak? Any other public comment?
And then we do have some people online.
Good morning. Again, I'm Meg Lustow, Executive Director of the Miami Design Preservation League. MDPL strongly opposes the proposed demolition of the former Parkside Hotel at 235 Washington Avenue. The building is a contributing structure within the locally designated Ocean Beach Historic District, one of the earliest and most historically significant areas of Miami Beach. Constructed in 1938, the Parkside Hotel represents the type of modest, human-scale hotel that defined the Ocean Beach neighborhood in the late 1930s and helped shape the historic character of Washington Avenue. Buildings such as this formed the backbone of a community that welcomed everyday travelers and residents, offering a more accessible and intimate version of the Miami Beach experience beyond the grand oceanfront hotels. The Ocean Beach Historic District was designated specifically to preserve this story. Its significance lies not only in individual landmarks, but in the collective character created by these smaller buildings and the streetscapes they define. Together, they form a cohesive historic environment that reflects the early development of Miami Beach as a vibrant seaside community. The Parkside Hotel still clearly expresses its original design. Its two-story scale, flat roofline, balanced facade, and restrained Art Deco detailing remain intact and continue to contribute to the architectural rhythm and pedestrian character of Washington Avenue. The building is a quiet but essential part of the district's historic fabric. Allowing demolition in this case would establish a deeply troubling precedent. If contributing buildings can be removed simply to accommodate new amenities or open space for adjacent development, the long-term integrity of the historic district is placed at risk. Historic districts endure only when the buildings that define them are protected and are allowed to remain part of the living city. The demolition of the former Parkside Hotel would therefore represent an unnecessary and avoidable loss of an historic building that continues to contribute meaningfully to the character of Washington Avenue and the Ocean Beach Historic District. For these reasons, we respectfully encourage you to deny the demolition request and encourage the applicant to pursue alternatives that retain and rehabilitate the former Parkside Hotel. Preserving this building would continue the tradition while protecting the architectural heritage that makes Miami Beach unique.
We have public comment online, I believe.
We do, but one more person.
Hi, I'm Roger Goldblatt, 1750 James Avenue, speaking as Roger Goldblatt, 1750 James Avenue. This is the Historic Preservation Board. It doesn't say so anywhere, but basically, I understand the charge should be preserving our history. Nobody's mentioned the building itself, which, beauty is subjective. I think it's a beautiful building. It's 1938 mid-range hotel for those who couldn't afford the beachfront hotels. It's really lovely, and I understand the condition is not possible, to save the whole former hotel. But I think the compromises by several of you on the board, including the city, are excellent. And I'd love to see as it was used before, a homage to what was there. We're losing so much south of Fifth. It's becoming a glass high-rise canyon, pretty much. And there are some historic buildings. Obviously, the first hotel, the Browns Hotel, there are several other buildings there. And this really is, no one showed the potential of this facade. It's really great. I think as a gateway to the park would be great. There are so many possibilities, and I just think that a compromise is feasible. Thank you.
Madam Chair? Sorry, if I could just swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, yes.
Thank you.
My name is Joseph Magazine, speaking here as a resident, as a father of a 9-year-old daughter that was born in the city and goes to school in the South of Fifth neighborhood at South Point Elementary. While I agree wholeheartedly with comments that were said about the importance of honoring the history of our city, I ask myself, how do you weigh that if it comes at the expense of the future of our next generations? What greater gift can we all collectively give as a city of Miami Beach other than every opportunity possible to our next generation to learn, to be ambitious, to seek opportunity, to create the next companies that explore space, that help resiliency or climate change, things like that. The opportunities for education are the most priceless thing that I can ever imagine our community. I heard a comment saying, buildings such as this form the backbone of a community. I go to South Point Elementary every single day. The children that are playing there, laughing there, forming friendships that will last their entire lives. Maybe little kids meeting their future husbands or wives, or deciding that's where they're going to become a doctor or an astronaut or a preservationist. What greater opportunity can we give to not only honor our history, but prepare our next generation for the future? Thank you very much.
We'll go to the online callers now. The first caller is PJ Rabi.
PJ, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You have 2 minutes.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. My name is PJ Rabi from 733rd Street. As such, I'm a property owner on the block opposite this site, and I'm directly affected by this change. My wife and I grew up in Sea Point, Cape Town, surrounded by Art Deco buildings, and now my family calls Miami Beach home, again surrounded by a wonderful architectural history. We love the style, however, recognize that preservation needs to consider the cost and benefit to the community today. Here we're trading a structurally unremarkable 2-story building, or even the facade thereof, one of hundreds of contributing structures around our homes, for the efficiency of the outdoor space serving the children of this neighborhood, adjacent to the school already approved by this board. While we respect the legacy of the architect Kingston Hall, 235 Washington is simply not his masterpiece or as significant to his legacy. That distinction belongs to his significant works like the Blackstone or the Seymour Hotels. This specific structure lacks the absolute defining features that demand strict preservation. Basecamp is an extremely high-level institution focused on our local kids. Our neighborhood has become incredibly family-centric, yet the lack of high-end local schooling results in many families sending their children across the causeway, leaving the neighborhood every day and undermining our community. Basecamp solves this. Although private, it is more affordable than its peers and operates largely as a philanthropic gift to Miami Beach. Rather than burdening the city by asking to repurpose public land, like an adjacent dog park, the school is taking ownership of this need. By converting a built lot into an open recreational area, they're actively de-densifying the environment, reducing the risk of a future visually disruptive structure, and creating a community asset at their own expense. Your mandate allows you to weigh the greater public interest. Approving this application solidifies the positioning of will become an iconic institution that uplifts Miami Beach.
Our next caller is Matt Pender.
Matt, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Can you hear me?
Yes, do you so swear?
I do swear.
Thank you.
So we've said a few times that Basecamp is a private school. I want to give you my experience with the Marshall family and Basecamp as somebody who was the president of the Friends of South Point Elementary, which raised money for our public school. So when Basecamp was first building their initial school here on 2nd Street, there was some curiosity in the neighborhood, so I went and met with John and his wife. And the first time that I met with them, John said something that stayed with me and that he backed up. He said that Basecamp is not he doesn't see Basecamp as a competitor to the public schools, but that we're both contributors, that 1 + 1 = 3 in this sense. Over the years, John has backed that up by being one of the largest contributors to South Point Elementary. So we have a athletic field there that for decades was closer to a dog patch. In fact, our dog parks were better maintained than that field. We were able to put in an artificial turf field in large part because of John Marshall and his wife and their contributions and them showing by example what we could do at our public schools. They've done it time and again. And I'll fast forward to an experience I had recently, taking my 13-year-old and my 12-year-old twins back from school. They go to St. Patrick's. We pulled into Walgreens on 5th. And it can be kind of sketchy there sometimes. There's people panhandling outside for money because it's a liquor store. And I look over across the street, and all of a sudden, what was a barren parking lot and what was sort of like a sad little mini mall now had an outdoor basketball hoop and kids laughing and playing. And this is probably steps from where the city's new fire station is going to be. And I see a police cruiser outside. Now, I'm wondering what was going on. So I went over there, and I probably looked a little strange. I knocked on the door, and somebody came and said, "Hello, can I help you?" I was like, who built this? Like, who did this? Like, well, this is Base Camp. And it's no surprise that John and his wife have done it again, and they have done it time and again, contributed to the community out of their own pockets. And so
thank you,
these
Mr.
people
Pinder.
are lying.
Next caller is Hannah Zupko.
Hannah, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Thank you. You have 2 minutes.
Dear Historic Preservation Board, my name is Hannah Zupko. I'm the resident of Miami Beach at 6423 Collins. I'm also a business owner at 350 Lincoln Road, hiring and bringing high-tech industry, including AI, quantum computing, into Miami Beach to make and bring opportunities for people working here and living here to have meaningful jobs that will enable the future and make Miami Beach the future capital of the world, like similar to Silicon Valley and New York, you name it. I see the potential of Miami Beach having culture and business and education that is truly world-class. And as a mom of a 6-year-old, I feel very strongly coming every day to South of Fifth and spending time there with my son that he would have the opportunity to be in safe environment. They have the opportunity to grow and run around. And similarly to how I spend time next to North Beach Elementary and the joy that fills my heart seeing kids run around and play at the playground, I would imagine that the same joy could help empower the next generation of future kids growing and building and creating within Miami Beach. I really encourage you to give and look at this as an opportunity to put a mark and empower the next generation of entrepreneurs, business leaders that will proudly call South of Fifth home and proudly build businesses. And you have now power to make that choice. Also look at this. Would you rather prefer your child to run around and have the opportunity to be within school walls to exercise? Currently, kids at Base Camp do not have the chance to run freely because the space is very little. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening.
We have 2 more callers. Annie Zelsky.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. As a parent of a student that's currently at Base Camp, I can attest that Base Camp is so special. It's currently providing an environment for our children where they love learning, and it's truly preparing them to be our future. It's not a typical school, and I'm so grateful that my daughter gets to attend it every day. Base Camp is bringing community to an area that someone else mentioned is becoming filled with high rises. John and Diana are maintaining the South of Fifth community and keeping our residents within our community instead of going outside of the South of Fifth area where there are other schools. As Base Camp continues to grow, more and more of our residents will stay in the area in South of Fifth. But as parents, of course, we want our children to have areas to run around and be free and have fun. I strongly encourage that we allow this to continue because I believe in John and Base Camp and know that whatever he will do in that school will be amazing, not only for our children, but also for the South of Fifth community. Thank you.
We have 2 more callers again. So the next caller is MBET F109.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, good morning. My name is Michelle Fries. I'm a resident of Miami Beach and a parent of 2 children at Base Camp. Similar to the parent who just presented ahead of me, I want to share every interaction I've ever had with John and Diana Marshall. Is so impressive of what they've done with the school, what they've done with the students, and they really are preparing these students in leadership. My daughter and son both had somewhat challenging test scores from their prior school, another private school. They moved to this school, now have just really fantastic test scores. But beyond that, what I love is that they come home sharing with me they want to become scientists and business owners, and they want to help, the world. And so the one thing, though, is they don't have that safe space to play. I spent a lot of time there in the south of Fifth area, and I would love to hear children playing and laughing in a safe space. And to the gentleman who commented earlier on the Jefferson and Fifth Avenue, the second campus location, it really has changed the area. So I want to echo others' comments and really, note what John and Diana say they will do. They really do, and they do it in such a loving and community way. So thank you.
Next caller, John Caprio.
John, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You have 2 minutes.
Yes, how are you? My name is John Caprio. I'm president of the Murano at Portofino HOA, and I'm also on the South of Fifth Neighborhood Association as a director. I first want to say that Mr. Larkin and Mr. Marshall came to our meeting, I believe last week, and they presented this beautiful plan that they have for this park. And we didn't have one opposition to what they want to do. I think that this is very important that this board passes what Mr. Larkin is presenting today, due to Washington Street is the main entrance to the South of Fifth Neighborhood Association, to the neighborhood. What Mr. Marshall is doing with the schools speaks for itself, and his investment to the neighborhood is second to none. And his integrity and everything he's doing, the outreach to the community, is above and beyond what anyone can expect for any private enterprise can do for the neighborhood, with the sensitivities of what we represent and what we want in the neighborhood. This building has been an eyesore for years. It needs to be resolved and something needs to be done. He's willing to do something that I think is great for the school and also for this neighborhood needs. For the entry, I think that he's not asking for anything unreasonable. I think what Mr. Larkin wants to do, like they did at Louver House, makes all the sense in the world, of the new modern interpretation of something that represents what was there. And he wants to have open space, which is wonderful for the neighborhood, especially on Washington Street. I strongly urge you as a committee to please pass this. It's important for the neighborhood, it's important for the kids, it's important for all of us here. And he's willing to do something that's been an eyesore for years for the neighborhood and resolve it. So with that being said, I appreciate your time today, and please consider passing this today. Thank you.
Next caller is Dia Sims.
Dia, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Hi, I do, and I didn't realize that I'm logged into my boss's computer, Zoom. I'm an assistant, but my name is Sarah Melton. I live at the Courts in the South of Fifth neighborhood, and I have 2 children in the neighborhood. One of them attends Base Camp, and one of them attends South Point Elementary. I think it's important to consider here if we are about preservation or are we about storage, because a building that can no longer serve the community is not being preserved, it's being stored. If preservation is about honoring the past while serving the present, I think this proposal does exactly that. It ensures that the site continues to matter and very meaningfully to the children and the families in the community. Thank you.
Next caller is Beaky.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. Good morning, board. I'm a resident of Miami Beach. I live at the Courts like Sarah. I'm a mom of a 5-year-old daughter that attends Base Camp. I echo a lot of the comments that have already been made by the last couple of speakers. John and Diana have been wonderful, incredibly generous to what they bring to the community. And I wanted to add that when we moved here 5 years ago, everyone told us that because I'm very passionate about education, and education is for every parent important. And so many people told us, well, you will not be able to stay on the beach, because when they go to middle school, everyone is moving out of the beach. The good middle schools and the good high schools are further away. So like Base Camp and John and Diana are building a middle school right in our neighborhood. I just wanted to add that. And then also that school is not about academics alone. Sports is so important for character building. Having a sports field is is one of the essentials that every school needs. And I keep it at that. I ask you to support the application. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you could just state your name and address for the record.
Bieke Klaas, and I'm at the courts, 100 Jefferson Avenue.
Thanks.
Do we go to Matthew?
Okay. Good morning. My name is Matthew Goltanoff. I live at 125 Jefferson Avenue, just a few blocks from this location. I want to thank John and his wife for all the support that they've had for South Point Elementary, for the Friends of South Point Elementary. I know some of their students also attend the after-school enrichment programs and that they've contributed financially to the success of the enrichment programs. I think it's greatly appreciated by many of the families in the neighborhood who attend that school. My children also attend South Point Elementary. I think we all can respect that he wants to do what's best for his kids and for the students that attend Base Camp Elementary. I don't think anyone here is suggesting that this open space not be built. I do believe that there is a playground and a play area being built as part of the middle school under construction directly to the north right now. But I want to share that when he presented to the South of Fifth Neighborhood Association, I know that we just heard one of their directors say that no one spoke against it. While I didn't specifically speak against it, I did raise some questions I think that were key, that were not part of the presentation made to the neighborhood association, like for example, the contributing status of the building, I think is a key thing when you're trying to build support to at least be very transparent about the history of this building. And lastly, I'll just share some thoughts about the presentation. It didn't seem like there was much respect for the process, for the board, or for the staff, and I think that's critical when you're coming asking to demolish something that is so important to Miami Beach, which is historic preservation, the streetscape, the history. That's what makes Miami Beach special. And I think even just the little amount that this board can help move this along in terms of even preserving the facade will go a long way to retaining the cultural and historic integrity of the district. Thank you.
We have some more callers online again. Next is Itay Blessenheim.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, absolutely. As the neighborhood becomes more family-oriented, that's something that we're all seeing. The lack of facilities to allow kids to play, to run, to experience more opportunities, you know, when it comes to their physical opportunity, it's just not there. And I think that this suggestion and plan seems very reasonable, very aligned with the direction that this neighborhood is going, and probably going to see even more growth with families in the neighborhood over the next few years. So I think many families in the neighborhood very strongly support the plan here. And I think that what is being suggested from an engineering perspective seems very reasonable, at least from our perspective. Thank you so much.
And if you could please state your name and address for the record.
Itay Blessenheim, 300 South Point, Portofino.
Thank you.
Next caller, Daniel Seraldo.
Daniel, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do, thank you. Hi, good morning, members. Daniel Seraldo, 730 10th Street. And if I were to show you where I lived, I think you could refer to the diagram that Michael Larkin showed with a big red line going through an Art Deco building. I live on the ground level of an Art Deco building like so many thousands of the residents of our city. And I'm really sick of hearing our Art Deco buildings being used as pawns for whatever sort of development process the latest person wants to do to disrespect our community harmony and values. I went to Cushman School. I'm very proud of that school. And I remember growing up how amazing it was to enter the school through the historic 1924 entrance. And, you know, I think this project could become a great example of adapting a historic building, of making the students in the neighborhood proud of that building that has languished and needs a facelift, but not with total demolition and replacing Art Deco with AstroTurf. I also want to thank MDPL for their position in staying strong. I'm sure that they, among others, are being pressured by commissioners behind the scenes not to do their mission, but we all must stand up for historic preservation. Let's see some alternatives and make the end result something we could all be proud of. Thank you.
That concludes the online callers.
Okay, do we have any?
I would suggest we close the public comment
Yeah,
first.
we can close comment.
Could I have my rebuttal, Madam Chair?
You may.
Sure. So one of the speakers mentioned during the Softner presentation that we did not identify this building as contributing. We absolutely did. We said it was a contributing building located in a local historic district. I just reviewed the PowerPoint presentation that we did at Softna, and it's clearly in the same slide that you all saw today. You know, life is full of compromises, and while it wasn't our client's original inclination to reconstruct the front wall, we're willing to do that in order to accommodate Mr. Breslin's request. You know, we are somewhat concerned because it will be very heavy, but as Haskell pointed out, with the openings, the hurricane force winds will flow through. We just want the opportunity, though, to explore different, more modern materials in order to make it a little bit lighter, but it'll still have the appearance of stucco from the street. And we could actually use stucco, but just, it's caught me by surprise. So I just want the opportunity to experiment.
Right.
One other thing that might be considered here is to actually build a shallow building that could then store all of the equipment and everything they're going to be able, for the kids to be able to use in that park. I mean, there's all kinds of things that, you know, that where's that stuff going to be stored now? It wasn't planned originally. So you could actually build a building to store that equipment in. Just a thought.
It just makes it much more complicated, but there is storage space. Thank you for being thoughtful. In the subterranean garage that's adjacent, it's not really subterranean, it's at grade. But there is a lot of storage space.
I don't remember that on the original plan.
It was there. It's there. But we appreciate your thoughtfulness.
Any further rebuttal?
What's that?
Any further rebuttal?
No, so our request, we'd like for you all to bifurcate the application, approve the demolition today, and we'll come back to you all in 60 days with how the reconstructed front wall will look. I think we might need a variance because in this RPS 3, there's a maximum and minimum front setback.
So the code requires a 5-foot setback, so if they were to replicate some sort of structure at the 5-foot setback, that would not need a variance, but to reconstruct anything at the 0 setback would require a variance. Could I just comment on in terms of what's been presented so far, just to give staff's position? In terms of the design that was shown here, this is a good concept, although I do think this is sort of a 1980s faux deco vibe in terms of the design. So I think this concept is the path. In terms of replication, staff's position would be not to replicate, but to have a concept with modern materials. So maybe it's something that is more closely in terms of representing the original design, but with lighter area materials for the air to go through. So maybe not the plan that was shown here, which is sort of a modern conceptual design, something that was more reflective of the original window openings, the details, but just with the modern materials so nobody could misinterpret that as being a original structure. Our concern with having something just rebuilt is that it's going to be misinterpreted as the original structure versus a replicate. We don't want to have a misperception that this is the original structure. That's what we're asking for, some sort of change to the materials, so it's obviously a new design.
So we have a couple of options here. We can continue through our commentary as a board and provide commentary to the applicant, and then we can vote, or we can take a straw poll. So I'm just letting you guys know where our options sit, because I know we've got some powerful opinions on the board. Do you have commentary, Haskell?
I just want to add a couple of things.
Go for it.
Or reiterate what I'd said originally. I'm all for the children having their own facilities to play, and I think it's an important part of growing up in a school like Base Camp. I don't mind, given the condition of the building, removing perhaps 90% of it, preserve the facade of the building in lieu of this gate, and I don't think it's going to take that much, whether in terms of cost or from a structural standpoint, to preserve that wall and maintain it as the front entry to that field, that facility.
Could you accept Mr. Breslin's position of reconstructing it? Because I don't think we'll be able to do that.
Reconstructing it, I wouldn't mind if you would replicate it, right?
Right.
But it has to be the exact replica.
So there's a tension between what you said, which I'm okay with, and what Michael is saying is that they don't want anyone to walk by it and think, gosh, this is a fragment of the original building. So what we're asking is we can reconstruct the facade, the identical openings, the circle in the middle of the second story, all of that makes sense. But let us have some ability to use more modern materials to make it lighter, but it'll have the appearance of stucco.
What does that mean? What kind of materials are you thinking about?
Well, I'm just thinking certain types of concrete nowadays are more strong but lighter, and I've read about it.
Forgive me, one moment. This is a reinforced, on the perimeter, you have a reinforced concrete frame with infill masonry, correct, on the facade?
Right now, yes. He's suggesting glass fiber reinforced concrete.
I'm sorry?
Glass fiber reinforced concrete paneling, which gives you the feel and stucco and feel and look of a stucco, but it's a much lighter material to work with.
It just seems to me like you haven't studied this concept at all, whether to preserve that facade. Would you mind just stepping back and looking at what it would take to just preserve that existing wall, where you could place that plaque that you were volunteering on that wall and say, here once stood a 1938 historic building?
So that was the type of concrete that I was thinking about. Yusuf often comes to
I'm
my
familiar
rescue.
with it.
But if you would, Mr. Meyer, consider Mr. Breslin's suggestion, we could come back within 60 days, have the variance advertised to make it be exactly where it is today, and I think you'll be impressed with the results.
Fair enough.
Thank you,
I
sir.
will.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, the idea is to approve the demolition today and then bifurcate the application to come back with the front wall design.
Let's finish the commentary from the board and then
Yes.
we'll decide what we're going to vote on. Thank you. Go ahead, Mitch.
Sure. I would be opposed to the reconstruction of the existing facade. In my lifetime, I've replaced enough tie beams and columns to know that this two-story structure could be saved. And I'm all for the kids having a playground. I'd like to see the existing facade preserved. We are the Historic Preservation Board. But on another note, I want to commend the applicant. I've been watching the construction since the beginning. It appears they use galvanized rebar in the foundation. I'm really impressed with the polished CMU block in the rear. And they're doing a first-class job.
Mr. Novick, earlier you had said that you would be okay with the exoskeleton.
That's what this implied. That's what my statement implies. Use that exoskeleton to support the existing facade. You do the rehabilitation of the structural components of that facade, and you have a beautiful playground behind. And within that facade, as Ray mentioned, perhaps it might be feasible to create a space for whatever, equipment or restrooms or something.
Would you entertain Mr. Breslin's suggestion about reconstructing the front facade?
No, I'm against reconstruction of this existing asset.
Okay.
Do we have any further board commentary? Randy?
And I wanted to talk to Mitch just a little bit. The reason for the reconstruction is the only way to that they can tear the rest of the building down.
That's what
is
they
from the
told you.
front,
There's-
because of all the electric and everything in the back.
It was an interest, Michael represents his clients well, but.
So you feel that the building can be torn down from the back?
Absolutely.
And not have any problems?
Not from the back. It could be dismantled, deconstructed from the interior, as it's done all the time in this city.
Any further board commentary?
I guess my problem with this sort of modern interpretation, it to me looks more like you're entering a prison, and it doesn't reflect anything of the original building. I don't even think it reflects the character or the style or anything. It's all metal. So I have a real problem when you say a modern interpretation of an existing structure, that this is what we see. It doesn't look like that at all. I also am opposed to rebuilding a new facade to look like an old facade. I just don't favor that in historic preservation. It should either be a modern interpretation or you preserve the historic. I just feel strongly about that for what we should be doing. So in my opinion, I guess I have a question. If we approve the demolition, but with the condition they would come back with a facade rehabilitation, I assume there would be no construction occur in that period, that they come back and say, well, we can't do it and the building's gone. I'm confused about approving demolition without, if they're gonna do something, I assume that means they can't do anything on the site until we then get to see it again.
No, if the board approves the demolition today with the design for the wall to come back in the future, that would allow them to demolish the structure before coming back. If the board approves the demolition today and says the design of the front wall has to come back to the board for review, that would allow them to get the permit to demolish the structure before they come back, unless the board places a condition in the order saying that the building cannot be demolished until such time that the board approves the reconstruction or reinterpretation of the front wall. It's up to the board to how they want to word that, but it sounds like Mr. Novick is not supportive of that option. And it does require 5 votes of approval for the demolition.
Okay.
So I'll make my commentary and finally, it's weird to go last, but I'll have to go last. So I don't get the impression, and myself included, I don't think anybody here is opposed to the idea of green space abutting the existing or the under construction school. I do acknowledge that this building was here when the approval for that school was granted, right? So there was a building there on both sides. This was the condition that was purchased into, and the applicant did choose to purchase a contributing building, knowing what they were walking into. I am of the opinion that I need more information about what the ultimate product is going to be before I can consider demolition. That's where I stand. It's not that I would oppose it entirely. It's that I need more. And I understand you only had a week or so to come up with kind of the recommendation based on staff's recommendations. I think with more time that the applicant and the professionals here involved would be able to come up with something that is more satisfactory to this board. I understand the time constraints. I understand that, or not time constraints, but the additional time that imposes upon you. But that's where I would stand. And with that said, is why I hinted earlier at perhaps taking a straw poll to see where we stand. And then perhaps if the applicant is amenable, this is my thought process based on what I'm hearing, if the applicant's amenable to continuing the application to a date certain, whatever that is that you would like, where they could come back with something that would hopefully satisfy all parties. We have to have, for demolition, we need a unanimous vote. So anyone who says no today would stop this. And so that's my thought process. Speaking to the applicant, but also to my fellow board members.
Just to put it into perspective, you've got someone like me that says, let's replicate what's there. You've got someone like Mitch that says, no, we want to keep what's there, and you demolish around it, but we're not taking that down. And then you've got staff saying, we'll put something that's reminiscent of what was there. So you've got three different things going on here, and you can't demolish until you make a decision of what that's going to be, in my opinion.
Agreed. I agree.
Can I make a motion? To retain the facade and give them permission to demolish behind it.
I second that.
Okay.
Mike, would you be accepting of that position? I just want to make sure, because if for some reason they are not able to do that, structurally, whatever, they would have to come back to the board, file a new application to modify this application. So it's up to them. If they can accept it, that's fine. Otherwise, would they prefer a continuance to come back to the board next month or the following month to present plans to show that they actually could accommodate what the board is asking, requesting?
So can I offer a compromise?
Perhaps.
So I've seen in certain instances, one we're involved in right now, where I can't disclose, but some historic homes are broken up into parts and then they can be moved. It relieves the pressure of keeping it all. So what John is asking is, can we divide up this front facade and move it because we can't take the demo debris out the back. But we could divide up the front facade, move it to a safe place, and then reconstruct it after we've done the demolition.
I wouldn't be in support of that.
Has that been done successfully? Our concern is that it's going to fall apart or...
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't have to, but I understand your concern. There's no real opportunity for us to retain the front facade. We can reconstruct it in different ways that might be acceptable to different board members, that will address staff's concern about it not being a complete identical reconstruction. But we're willing to certainly go down that road and do that right away. Yeah. So just hear briefly from John Marshall, Madam Chair.
I think we would have to reopen the presentation for that.
Okay.
It's fine if the board wishes.
Okay, go ahead.
Thanks. Thank you all for considering this. I just want to, we were here before talking about the back of the current building, and I just wanted everybody to understand the lengths that we went to for the back of the building, the current construction. We originally designed it, of course, with that, we came for the generator and the life safety area in the back. It was designed as full concrete to match the rest of the building. Because of the OSHA regulations, we could not come within that 20-foot diameter. We came back to the board, and I'm not sure who recalls, but we actually had to, or the staff, we had to change the entire structure of the back of the building to make it cantilevered so that we could do means and methods of constructing it differently. We purchased a super high-end concrete block to go along the back that we could lay from the inside. We tried to move the power lines. And we actually paid Breezeline over $50,000 to move theirs. FPL was in the middle of moving all the power lines in the back. We literally threw, whatever proposal at them to move those power lines in the back. They couldn't do it. So I just want to make sure that you understand when we say you can't do it from the back, we probably spent, almost $500,000 re-architecting the current building, making the back cantilevered, constructing it a different way. We have orange lines, we have OSHA inspectors, we have Turner inspectors there on a regular basis to make sure that the construction workers are not anywhere near those power lines. So when we say that we're pretty confident that we've explored every avenue, we have. And we put our money where our mouth is. We actually paid to move a lot to even get that level of safety. So I really want you to understand that demo from the back just is not possible. And so the only way that we can do this is coming from the front. So I appreciate some of the, the concrete may fall apart when we move it, but to me, that was the most logical thing. To pick it up, to chop it up and put it to the side, and then, yes, we'll have to do some repair, but if you want the original structure, I mean, that's not cheap, but I have to get access to the front. So I have to chop it up into 10 pieces, move it to the side, do the demo, and then build it back. That's an option that I'm willing to do for the facade, or we can do a blended concrete plus an alternative. But I just want you to understand that giving me a demo permit to demo from the back it's not even worth the vote. It's not, I can't do anything with that.
Madam Chair, if you'd like to
Okay, so-
reclose the public hearing.
Yes, thank you.
I have a question. The building to the south of this structure, is that a government use, the IA building? What's the, in relationship to the facade, isn't it set back several feet?
It's not several. I was just there last week. It's pretty close to its front property line.
Could that be, of course, with an agreement with the city, perhaps that could be your exit, so to say?
It's
in
it's
terms
very
of
close.
debris.
It's very close to the shared property line, so I don't see any room to maneuver there.
Okay.
We do have a motion in a second.
We do have a motion and a second.
That includes retaining the front wall where it is, not allowing them to chop it up unless you want to modify your motion to allow that.
No, it's retaining the existing.
But so it sounds like the applicant would
Elevation.
cannot.
We can't
So
do that.
you would prefer, I believe you would prefer continuance to explore another option to present to the board,
Yes.
because this option is not going to work.
I think a 1-month continuance, because the timing is critical. The demolition cannot occur while the school children start their school in September, and getting a demo permit in Miami Beach is not an easy thing. So we would ask that we have 1-month
And
continuance.
just to be clear, I am not going to be here at the April meeting.
We should have Elizabeth back next month.
And hopefully
And
an
then
additional board
we have
member.
an additional board member who's, I think, up for appointment tomorrow.
You sure you're going to be absent, Ray?
He's got a big trip planned, I heard.
All right. Such
So would you like a continuance, Michael, to the April 14th meeting?
Yes.
We have a motion on that to continue the application to April 14th? Mr. Breslin, a second? Mr. Meyer, all in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you very much for your time.
The next item on the agenda is HPB 24-0642, 7275 Collins Ave, North Beach Bandshell. An application has been filed requesting a certificate of appropriateness for the partial demolition, renovation, and restoration of the existing facility, including the construction of addition on both the north and south sides of the existing structure, and including a variance from the minimum required north side setback. The application before you relates to the improvements and addition of the North Beach Bandshell, which was constructed in 1962 by Norman Geller and the post-war modern architectural style. Just a brief history on this site. In 2011, renovations, including the addition of the dressing room, a stage deck, and acoustic treatment and lighting infrastructure was added. In 2019, the Design Review Board approved the installation of the circular canopy that's existing on the site. In 2021, the commission did designate this as a local historic site. And more recently, in 2023, additional canopy structures were approved by the Historic Preservation Board. As part of this application, they have incorporating certain additions and site improvements. I'm just going to go over a couple of them that's part of this application. The first component is a 677 square foot addition on the northeast portion of the property, which will include 4 dressing rooms, a restroom, a connecting corridor, and exit stairs. This addition will connect directly to the existing back-of-house facilities and improve circulation, operational efficiency for the production staff. Additional interior improvements are also proposed, which includes upgrades to the existing restrooms, expansion of the medium production room, and removal of the existing chairlift and improvement to existing dressing rooms. To the west of the addition, a covered truck loading dock is proposed, along with a new chairlift and a new curb cut in the landscaping areas. On the east side of the property, the trash and recycling enclosures will be relocated, along with improvements to the service driveway, fences, and gates. Additionally, there will be a 1,057 square foot addition on the north side of the band shell, which provides the administrative office space as well as the production staging area. And there will be other improvements such as a new ticket booth and extension of the canopy and new patios. As part of this request, the applicant is requesting a variance for the street side setback from the required 40 feet to 26 feet and 11 inches. This is to accommodate the proposed production stage and the back-of-house dressing room. Due to the existing site configuration of the band shell and the surrounding structures, the site presents a physical constraint and limits where the new program elements can be relocated. Because of the back-of-house facilities that needs to be located in order for it to be operationally efficient, the proposed location is being located on the north side, which represents the most practical solution. The requested variance is therefore the minimum necessary to accommodate these operational needs and preserve the historic structure and its defining features. Staff is supportive of the project and recommends the certificate of appropriateness and variance as outlined in the draft staff order. And I'll give it over to the staff.
Mr. Gomez, were you sworn in already?
I have not been, no.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning, distinguished committee. My name is David Gomez. I'm the Director of the Office of Capital Improvements for the City of Miami Beach. This project was born out of the 2022 cultural bond that was approved by the residents and the commission. From this project, it is primarily an improvement to the facility. I've had the pleasure of attending several events there, only to witness the difficulty faced by the staff to put on these events, seeing as they have no back-of-house space currently. So we are supportive of and excited to introduce this expansion and this improvement to the facility. We had the honor of installing the martini glass-shaped canopy that's there today, as well as the rear canopy along the back wall that provides cover, permanent cover for the seating areas. We have coordinated closely with the staff and members of the band shell, as well as other stakeholders who are excited and supportive of the design. And with that, I'd like to ask our consultant, Jesus Novoa and Carmen Rojas, to walk us through the presentation.
Thank you, David. Good morning. My name is Jesus Novoa, project architect representing Song & Associates. And with me, as David mentioned, is Carmen Rojas, assisting project management on this project. Project context and location. The band shell is located in the North Shore Historic District, 7275 Collins Avenue. The site for the band shell is bordered by 73rd Street to the north, Collins Avenue to the west, and to the south, a residential high-rise property roughly aligned with 72nd Street latitude. To the east are the public beach activity areas, followed by the beach vegetation buffer and the beachfront itself. And here you see some of the images, the context. Next slide. This is the Collins Avenue on the left, middle, and on the right, the beach. These are some overall views looking from Collins Avenue. The program. Next slide. The project scope consists of additions and renovations to improve the back of the house support spaces of the CMB band shell facility to sustain and grow the production demands of their operations. The Rhythm Foundations have operated the band shell since 2015, has outgrown the existing back-of-house areas and need to expand to keep up with ever-increasing level of professional touring that is coming to the venue. These include the addition of office production staging space with kitchenette and toilet, expanded media production facilities, new dressing rooms, bathroom facility, reconfigured loading dock area to accommodate 2 trucks, improved technical storage, and renovation of existing back-of-house toilet rooms. Additionally, renovations include improvements to the concession operations, and this will consist of addition of a cafe patio adjacent to the existing South Tower in order to improve the snack and beverage experiences during band shell events. A small ticket booth is also required for this area. Food storage facilities, a walk-in cooler, freezer, dry storage are needed in support of the existing food preparation area adjacent to the south wall of the band shell structure. Next slide. Historical context. The existing original building was designed by Norman Giller and Associates and was built in 1962. In 2011, the facility underwent renovations, which included the addition of dressing rooms, an extension of the stage deck, acoustic treatments, and improvements to the lighting system. 2020, a single central support canopy covering approximately 4,000 square feet was installed to provide coverage for the audience. The band shell building has been and will continue to be an iconic structure in Miami Beach, very representative of the 1960 MIMO, which is Miami Modern Architectural Vernacular of the era. The Miami Beach City Commission designated the Band Shell Historic District on October 2021 and added to the National Register Historic Places in 2022. Now, proposed solution. The areas of work consist of the north addition, also the existing back of stage area renovations, the east exterior support spaces and service drive, and the south area concession-related improvements. The north addition. The principal new addition occurs along the north side of the band shell structure, where a one-story structure of approximately 2,600 square feet under roof and 1,734 square feet interior space is proposed. The eastern portion of this north addition contains 4 new dressing rooms, a bathroom, circulation space, and exit stairs. These new dressing rooms will directly connect to the existing back-of-house band shell areas. To the west of the dressing rooms, there will be a covered truck loading area with a modified and realigned loading dock, a new ADA chairlift, a new double gate allowing vehicle access into the main audience space for maintenance and emergency preparedness into the band shell space is also proposed. Modification to the existing curb cuts, and landscape islands are planned in coordination with the new loading area alignment, as well as the maintenance of the service drive, exit and entry to 73rd Street. At the west end of the addition, we have located the new office space. This is the roof plan. Go back.
But we don't have, okay.
There we go. At the west end of the addition, we have located the new office space, production staging area, toilet, and kitchenette. The director's office is adjacent to and overlooks the north entry tower to the band shell. Roof plan, next. The use of rooftop units screened by parapets and/or equipment screens will keep much of the mechanical equipment concealed from view and away from the ground level. Second, remodeling of the existing back of stage areas. Okay. Here we can see in the diagonal hatching, some of the existing areas that are going to get remodeled. The scope includes renovation of the 2 existing restrooms, removing the existing chairlift to make room for expanding the media production room into the space vacated by the removed chairlift, and remodeling the current dressing rooms into technical storage room and a connection to the new dressing rooms. General storage cabinetry will be provided on both sides of the new connection corridor. Third, east side exterior space and service drive. That's there. Presently, the trash and recycling enclosures are located at the northeast corner of the band shell facing 73rd Street. These will be relocated away from 73rd Street, further south into the service drive and away from public view. The existing makeshift food storage pods will be removed to make way for the new dressing room expansion. New fencing, gates, and landscaping will be provided to screen this existing utilitarian area, which contains electric panels, transformers, etc., from public view. The existing condensing unit serving the band shell will be relocated to the roof behind the new addition and screened from view. That way we make a little bit of more space in that very tight eastern area. A new underground fire line with a new hydrant and standpipe connection near the south end of this drive is being proposed. This will allow the service drive to be used solely as such and not be required as a fire lane. And this will provide flexibility for the operations of the Rhythm Foundation. Concessions-related renovations. On the south side of the band shell, adjacent to the existing food prep area, 3 new food storage rooms, approximately 250 square feet total. It's not a big addition, will be provided. These will replace the demolished food storage areas mentioned earlier. And then an 850 square foot cafe patio is proposed adjacent to the south entry tower with continuous bench along the perimeter for use as a snack and drink area during band shell events. A new ticket booth is planned adjacent to this cafe patio. Landscaping design. The landscaping material has been selected in location and located in support of the architectural design. Decorative base planting at the west facade of the north addition, screening and foundation planting along the west side of the service drive, the new food storage building, the existing toilet building, as well as reinforcing the sense of enclosure around the new cafe patio. And finally, aesthetic consideration. Primary in our consideration was the need to develop a design that was respectful and complementary to the aesthetic language of the existing band shell architecture while not distracting from the band shell's primary role within the overall complex. We have endeavored to create a new structure with characteristics similar to the formal expressions of the existing structure. Clean, modern surfaces, the use of curves, a general palette of white smooth stucco with minor decorative treatments help to provide the desired continuity of design.
Do you need additional time?
No, that
Okay.
concludes the presentation. So we're available for any questions or.
Do we have any board disclosures?
2 questions. Was this part of the GO bond for the arts where the funding came from?
Yes, this is part of the GEO bond, Arts and Culture Bond.
And number 2, what will this renovation do for the other, the facilities being utilized for different shows and whatnot? Will this stop some of the production, or will it close the venue for part of this restoration, or will the venue remain open while this is being done?
This should be managed without interruption to the ongoing program, as most of this is exterior. There are some things, for example, the renovation of the bathrooms that we'll have to schedule with their activities, but the bulk of the work is outside the perimeter.
Okay.
Any other board questions? For the applicant? Okay. Do we have anybody, public comment?
Go to public comment. Anybody in chambers speak on this application? Please come up.
Hi, sir. Were you sworn in already?
I haven't been.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. My name is Don Worth. I'm a resident at 1390 Ocean Drive. I'm also a member of the Board of Directors of the Rhythm Foundation, and I'm here with James Quinlan, our founder, and Adam Ganusa, our executive director. I actually joined the board in part because of preservation. 25 years ago, James and I participated in developing a photography exhibit for mid-century architecture in Miami and New York. The exhibit traveled to the Municipal Art Society in New York City. Ironically enough, the band shell was on the cover of our brochure, of our catalog. In addition, we did host a celebratory luncheon for Norman Giller, who's very much unappreciated at the Eden Rock Hotel. We had 250 guests. If you don't know, Norman was a visionary architect, basically invented the 2-story motel, and had one of the 10 largest architecture firms in the United States. We take our stewardship of this building very seriously. We're the ones who proposed the historic designation by the city 6 years ago, and after that got approved, we led the effort to place this building on the National Register of Historic Places. Even though it created an additional regulatory burden for us, we thought it was important. Since then, we've collaborated with the city, and we've done some very, very significant improvements. You mentioned the canopies, which have been enormously important to us in bringing this building up to the 21st century. And actually, thanks to the Geo Bond, and thank you, Ray Breslin, we are now in a position where before the building was doing 1 or 2 events a month, we're now doing 140 events a year, and we are bursting at the seams, and this renovation is very, very important, and thank you very much for that. If I could just have another 40 seconds, I would appreciate. I've been involved meanwhile in the restoration of another historic venue, the Miami Marine Stadium, and shameless plug, I will be speaking tomorrow night at the Miami Design Preservation League at a free lecture at 6 o'clock. But what I take from that is that the city of Miami should learn from the city of Miami Beach in terms of collaboration. Together, we've really accomplished something very, very significant. This is difficult times right now for historic preservation, but I think you can really take pride in the fact that together we taken a building that 12 years ago was derelict and was considered a white elephant and is now considered to be the finest music and performance art venue in Miami. Please allow us to continue our upward progression and approve this plan. Thank you.
I remember sitting on metal benches. You had to bring something to sit on so you wouldn't freeze.
And I'll say it again, thank you to the city of Miami Beach. You've done a fantastic job in the 6 years I've been on this board, seeing the collaborations that we've taken. It's meant a lot, and it's together we've made this place successful.
Thank you. Do we have any other commentary in chambers? Go ahead.
Good morning.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. My name is Adam Ganuza. I'm the Executive Director of the Rhythm Foundation, and I just wanted to echo some of Don's words here and thank the City of Miami Beach as well as Song and Associates for being so thoughtful and intentional during the planning process. The design that you have seen here today went through many, many iterations to find what was going to be the most respected the building for us in its historical nature, and best position the facility to continue its upward trajectory to be the really world-class facility that this city deserves. So thank you all.
Good morning still. Meg Lusto, Miami Design Preservation League, 1001 Ocean Drive. We appreciate the thoughtful design work presented for the proposed improvements to the Miami Beach bandshell site. The bandshell is one of the most recognizable cultural and architectural landmarks in North Beach, and we strongly support efforts that enhance the site while respecting its historic character and civic importance. We're particularly encouraged by many of the architectural concepts presented in the proposal. The renderings illustrate a design approach that is sensitive to the historic bandshell structure and introduces new elements that appear compatible in scale, materiality, and overall design language. We believe that these improvements have the potential to further activate the site and strengthen its role as an important cultural gathering space for the community. At the same time, we believe that the 73rd Street frontage deserves additional attention. While the architectural renderings for other areas of the site demonstrate a high level of design quality and visual interest, the elements along 73rd appear less resolved and do not yet reflect the same level of architectural character or aesthetic refinement shown elsewhere in the project. Given the importance of 73rd Street as a highly visible edge of the site and a major gateway into the bandshell grounds, we encourage the design team to further develop this portion of the project so that it reflects the same richness, landscape quality, and sense of place evident in the other renderings. Strengthening the frontage through improved architectural detailing, landscaping, and pedestrian-oriented design would help ensure that the entire project reads as a cohesive and well-considered civic space. MDPL appreciates the overall direction of the proposal and supports the project in concept while encouraging the design team to continue refining the treatment of 73rd Street. We look forward to continuing to work with the applicant and the design team as the project evolves to ensure that this important North Beach landmark is enhanced in a manner that respects its historic significance and civic role. Thank you.
We have Daniel Seraldo online.
Yes. Do I have to be sworn again?
No, you were sworn earlier.
Okay. Thank you, Daniel Seraldo, 730 10th Street. I wasn't going to speak on the item, but I just wanted to mention, because one of the speakers said that the band shell was the applicant for the original designation locally, but it was actually this board, the HPB, and Kirk Pascal, who brought it up first and then, got everyone on board. So it reminded me to also share with you that one of the roles of this board is continued research and designation of historic properties. I just read in Palm Beach, they did, I think, 15 new landmarks very recently. And so I'm hoping that will continue and we'll designate more places and continue with the success of the band shell. Thank you.
That concludes the public callers.
Okay. Board commentary? Mitch?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Actually, we should do two motions because of variance.
Yes.
So that will be the motion for the C of A. Can I have a motion on the variance?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second it.
Mr. President, all in favor of the variance? Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We do have one other item on the agenda.
Thank you very much.
We have a continuation of the discussion of the plaque program from last month. Remember, we brought this to you. The board was asking for sort of an indication of what the design would be. We brought a sample today, what that would entail. Now, the sample that I'll pass along is an oval blank. They didn't have the circular blanks yet, so just keep in mind this is going to be a circular blank with the design that's in higher resolution. This is
So the materiality would be the same, just the shape would be
It'll be
different?
the same material. This will be the same sort of indication of the design, but it will be in higher resolution. This is a lower resolution in an oval shape. It'll be a high resolution in a circular shape. So if we can just pass this down. Again, this would be, the cost would be borne by the city. I think the total cost is about $1,000, $2,000 for the entirety of all the designs. It would be something that would be given to a resident who has a historically designated home for free if they want. It's not something that's an obligation. And the City Commission is asking for recommendation for the board if they are supportive of this plaque program. Yeah.
He said it would be
Yes,
high
yes.
res.
That was just, there's a problem with the file. It'll be a high resolution image. It's not going to be pixelated, and it will be on a circular blank versus the oval blank.
Where's this being proposed?
Yeah. It'll be mounted depending on the material that's placed upon.
Where's this being proposed?
This is the proposal that was made by Commissioner Fernandez, right?
This was.
Or the commission?
Just a second. Let me get the data.
It was made by the commission. We're going to get details.
This was.
No, it's going to be a circular blank. They just didn't have the blank.
There's three
itself.
sponsors. This is sponsored by Commissioner Vingas, Tanya Bott, and Alex Fernandez.
And how many are in the program?
So this would include, there are a total of, 31 individually designated historic single-family homes and 5 individually designated historic public buildings. So this would potentially be placed on those buildings.
And this is an optional.
Yeah, optional. Just
So-
if an owner of a designated home wants this, they can come to the city will provide it to them.
And this is just a discussion item. We're just,
Discussion, because the city commission was asking for recommendation of this board and regarding this plaque program to the city commission.
okay. Well, we lost one. Do we have any
If you
discussion?
had comments on the design or comments on the program,
Mitch?
I don't have any comment.
All right, I'll share my comments. I like the idea of having some sort of designation, and I appreciate the effort the city's going to. I think if we were gonna do it, we could do it in a nicer way. I get we're producing this in-house with parking, and I mean, honestly, it's much nicer than I think what we might have been expecting. But I think of when I see things like this elsewhere, there's raised, there's like a detailing, it's not just printed. However.
Embossed, yeah.
Huh?
Something like embossed.
It's
something
like
has
embossed or raised, exactly. So, I think of like the historic, this historic landmark signs that you go.
Right, you're probably talking about, though, increasing the cost by 10 or 20-fold.
Without question. I fully appreciate that. I'm just saying that's what I picture when I see something like this. I don't know that we asked this last time, but do other cities do some sort of program?
Yes, Coral Gables has a similar program.
And what is theirs similar to this?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. I'm not opposed to it,
I mean, I think you could include as part of your recommendation in support of the program to also consider alternative designs or something that may be embossed or more indicative of a.
Yeah, something, alternative design might be, or even, I get that that raises the price by order of magnitude, but, perhaps an opportunity where, we can offer this one, or we can offer you the specs and, places that you can go have something that I'm suggesting produced. If you wanted that type of emblem placed on your property, but didn't want what was being offered gratis. So, Ray, did you have any commentary?
I have a question for Ray. Ray, would you put this on the, you wouldn't? Okay.
So do you want to include it as a recommendation to the city commission, like I said, so we could make a motion in support of the program, but to suggest modification to the design, perhaps? Do you want to make that motion, Ray?
You have to.
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second for that motion? Okay.
All in favor?
An enthusiastic bunch.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you, unanimous. Any other discussion items?
Yes, Michael, you had alluded that we would be going paperless. I'm all for paperless.
But that's not anytime soon. That was just to prepare the board, that in the
Yeah.
future, I see this coming.
Yeah, I have a tenant who's the assistant director of the city of Miami who had gone paperless, I believe, in 2019. They review their architectural plans on monitors that are very large. I've tried to review architectural plans on devices, and it's an arduous task. I'm wondering if there's some leeway for a compromise where we get the architectural plans and the supplements perhaps could be digital.
I do think right now there's too much hard copies of too many things, and like the plans are the most essential items. At least I'm going to start whittling back in terms of having elements that are unnecessary, like the application form itself. I think if we just consider that the board wants to see the plans and not have the all other materials included as part of the package, we can start with that. I think that would be a good step. And then, of course, still we're going to give you the staff reports here, but the staff reports online.
So I think to Mitch's comment, I'd be curious what kind of monitors you have in your office, right? I mean,
So I review everything now. Yeah,
exactly.
So typically, so the board, some of the boards, for example, the planning board and DRB review things electronically. They bring iPads or laptops to the meetings and view the application documents on those iPads and computers. So I think if the board
I
hears,
think DRB is still paper.
no, the DRB has transitioned to electronic documents. But we will consider, before we change anything, Mitch, I'll let you know.
I mean, so I think, you know, personally, I prefer the paper, at least as far as the plans and things that I mean, I can zoom in so far on certain
Yeah, it's
things.
because it's often right now a challenge for us. People submit plans at the larger format. We have to tell them, make sure it's legible when printed, 11 by 17. So it is a lot of back and forth with that. And I think if we could come to a resolution that we can give the board members now the plans, but not the hard copies of the application documents, mailing labels, all this other sort of extraneous information that adds to the volume, and just have the applicants give us the plans, historic documentation, historic resources report, anything that's directly related to like design.
Well, I think some of that also would just need to be communicated, because if I'm correct in thinking, the mailing labels don't have to be provided to
no.
us in paper copy, but they still provide them, some do. So-
Exactly, yeah.
So that's really more of a communication
Yes.
with the applicants, you know, who are used to doing things a certain way.
Right.
So I think, so we could eliminate and streamline some of that. I would say that we maybe put it on a discussion item for next month.
Sure, I'll
And we
do
can
that.
actually, yeah, does that work? We can discuss next month what we do or don't do. Like I said, I prefer the paper copies of the plans. But do
I
I
think-
need the transmittal in a paper copy? Not necessarily, so.
Can I ask a question? Do you see the presentations before they make them?
The presentations are provided like 2 or 3 days before the meeting. So typically, we don't see the presentations before you do.
Yeah, they have a deadline to provide them a few days before the meeting.
My experience so far on the board has been some of them are very hard to read and extremely hard to see what they're doing. You see a slide up there, they're talking about things on the slide that I can't identify where it is because there's no pointer, I find the presentations extremely difficult to understand. And I sit there and it's glazing right over me because when they're talking about a little detail on a plan of a great big building, I have no idea where it's referring to. I can't tell what they're talking about. It doesn't blow up. So I assume then we're not relying on the presentations to tell us much, because I don't think they do.
Right, I think
For the most part.
the presentation is supposed to be, the documents that you're reviewing are their submittal documents, not the presentation.
Correct.
It's up to the applicant to present their proposal in a manner that the board can understand. And if there's a problem with that, then the board could raise it at the meeting.
Yeah, so,
And also for the people that are watching.
Exactly. Who don't have the backup of all of this information.
Right.
If I watch some of these presentations, I wouldn't be able to follow what they're asking for and what the change is. The big thing is, what is the change?
Where the change is.
You don't see it. They'll show a plan of a footprint of a building with 50 rooms and a few colors, and this is our new plan. I have no idea what they're talking about.
Understood. We
You
have some
know.
large projects today, for example, the W Hotel. That took a long time to figure out exactly what all the changes are because it's such a large project.
Right.
And so many plans, and until we're actually doing the report, we don't understand everything that's changing until the very end.
so I would say as a piece of feedback for me, and I'm going to use the presentation that was made today for the changes at 1505 Collins, Washington, that whole, I was able largely to follow along. I did bring up digitally so that I could zoom in, and I often do that. But what would have been helpful in that case, and I'm saying it now so that if they go back and watch this, or that I can provide this feedback to them later, as they're saying, okay, this is section 3, if they would say, go look at A3, right? Go look at this rendering, that architectural drawing, anything to point me to where in the stack of paper that is 2 inches thick that I need to be looking at this, that would be helpful. And so that's just feedback, in the middle of a presentation that's hard to give because they might not even know, and then they would be scrambling for the information. But having that information in advance, I think, would that be helpful?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
It's just-
if they're on the presentation, they say, this is, a blow up of A3. we all know to go to A3 or A23 or whatever it is to go.
And with this feedback now, we can go to the applicants when they submit.
Correct.
Let them know that this is going to be an expected standard and problems in the past, and make them, from the beginning, show us clearly, this is what's there now, what we're proposing, and make them more identifiable, so.
Yeah.
Understood.
I mean, it's just, and I do understand from the applicant's perspective, it's difficult because you've got an amount of time that you're trying to, present a lot of information.
And very
in,
important
but-
them to be really clear and very understandable very quickly, because we don't have the time to sit there and analyze in super detail. But so if it doesn't come across in the first couple minutes, you've lost the audience. And, I kind of sit there going, what are they asking for? What is the impact? Because that's what we're reviewing, is the impact of change. And I sometimes can't see it in their presentations. You just can't see it,
We'll do a better job of advising the applicants of that, and hopefully we'll have a better presentations and better information for the board to consider.
I think also the issue of the scale of the drawings, I mean,
Oh, yes.
he said area 3. I couldn't read 3 on that plan if you had binoculars.
That's the problem. That's the problem we've seen as well with the printed documents, because people are designing in like a large format
Yes.
printing. But, so when they go to print out an 11 by 17, it's hard to read the plans. And that's one of the problems with the hard copies is, of course, you can't zoom in, and it makes it
But 11 by
illegible.
17 is better than 8.5 by 11.
Of course,
and,
yes.
and if you need to be able to print it out, I mean, I can blow things up.
I
but
can tell you, like,
sometimes the
almost
rendering's not great.
Typically, all of our comments, our first comments are the plans are not legible. The scale is too small.
Yeah.
Because they're not printing them, they're not considering printing, they're just considering reviewing them on the screen. So we'll make a better effort to make sure that that's heard by the applicants.
Anything else?
So paper continues.
Yes, I just wanted to throw it out there,
Good.
Yeah, and just so we know, Gabby's heard this from me, but I appreciate, when you sent out the email, we already had the packet a week before.
Okay.
So, and I appreciate that personally, to get the packets in advance, even without the staff recommendation, that allows me to go through the materials, because the staff recommendation I can read through with an understanding of what's being presented.
Right, and we're going to also work on maybe having a sort of a hybrid sort of staff report. So maybe by the time we send out the board members' packages, you'll have a description of us in terms of what the proposal is. So you won't have our final recommendation, but you'll have our analysis in terms of what they're proposing to make it easier for you guys to review. So we're working on it.
I appreciate that, thank you.
You're welcome. With that, our next meeting is on April 14th. Mr. President has indicated he's not going to be in attendance. Does anybody else anticipate not attending the April meeting? April 14th? And like I said, we should have hopefully a new member appointed by the commission soon.
Well, tomorrow's the commission meeting.
Yes.
Is there will that item be
Well,
taken up?
Nick Jelpe, who's on the planning board, is up for appointment. Hopefully will, yes.
Cool.
That concludes the meeting. I'll see you guys next month.
Motion to adjourn.
There we go.
Thank you.